episode 13. There was no episode last week because I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And I also was just like, I've been going, I didn't have time. I had to schedule a guest, and I was just like, because I did it by myself the week before, and I always try to have a guest. I don't want to do it by myself too often. So didn't do one last week, just strictly out of running time. But now I just started scheduling. I just started reaching out to a bunch of people, scheduling stuff, trying to figure it out. So hopefully we can just keep that going. And as the world opens back up, there you go, bud. You're doing fine.
It's okay. Off to a rocking start.
You're doing great. Yeah, as things start, I started this in like March. Yeah. So now as things are getting busy, especially summertime, things are opening up and everything. And so my life's getting busier. But so this might not happen every week, people listening from here on out. But when I can do them, I'm going to keep doing them.
Now that we have things to do.
Yeah, right? Isn't that exciting?
Shows to play.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, shows.
Aren't you so excited about that?
I'm so excited. I haven't had anything booked yet. It's fucking nightmare right now because everybody's trying to play it. But so here we are.
Quick.
Episode 13. Our friend TJ is here. He's the guest today. And this is the I Am Your Friend podcast. And that's my intro. Great.
I'm terrible at podcast intros. So
it's so annoying.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I feel like unless you have like a certain flow or an exact
and I'm
format,
not going to read a script.
No, you're not going to prepare anything like
right.
that.
And I like the mistakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because this is the whole point of this thing is about being raw, organic, accepting our flaws as human beings.
Cool.
So that's what I'm all about.
I love the idea. I love that.
Thanks, man.
It's very authentic experience.
That's all I'm about.
Cool.
That's literally all I'm about in this life is
Nice.
is authentic experiences,
Nice.
which is I think are harder and harder to find.
Yeah.
Especially when we just exist on social media and
Right. And a lot of us do exist there. I live there way more
you have
often
the best
than
Twitter
I should.
presence of like anybody I know.
See, I always grapple with that because I'm like, oh, am I too
so
much?
Yeah.
Am I too much?
Yeah.
Am I doing the never? That's never. I'm always thinking like that's too much. That's going too far. Nobody cares what I think about this. Nobody cares that I'm going through this. But that's how I use it, and that's what it's there for. And I take it out of my pocket, and honestly, it's probably unhealthy. Probably.
It might be, yeah. I mean, I've been in the same boat, and I am a person who just like, it's like, I should have like a website that's just like, is Aiden on or is he off social media?
Right.
Because I just go back for all the time where like, I just, right now I actually think I have a good balance right now. I deleted Instagram and Twitter off of my phone. And just like, and Safari, I'll go into it every once in a while,
Sure.
Last night was super exciting. So, because of the India Walton thing.
Oh man!
So India Walton winning the Democratic mayoral primary in Buffalo, which was so fucking exciting. I wasn't on social media at all last night. In a group chat, my friend, I believe Pat Walker sent us a shout out. Pat Walker for sending that. He gets more shout out on this podcast than anybody, and I gotta fucking tone it down. But he sent it, I think, in our group chat about it, and I was like, "Yo, no way!" So I hopped on Twitter and just saw dude. I was in such a good mood last night. That's one of those things where it's like when you're on social media during something like that, it's awesome,
right?
Because you just see everybody's just like, "This is fucking amazing," like
right? And it's a positive experience.
Yeah.
It's one of those. We always look at echo chambers as a bad thing, but in that case last night, it's like, yes, look at all this positive energy just radiating throughout this channel. I don't know how to refer to it. This
Medium?
bird website, Medium
platform. I don't know.
Bird website seems to describe it perfectly fine. Last night I was actually recording my own podcast. If I can shout that out real quick.
Do it up.
Between Two Rebuilds. It's supposed to be the play is it's a Sabres podcast. We talk about the Sabres for maybe 2 minutes, and then we talk about like an album with somebody from like either Sabres Twitter or hockey Twitter. Cool. It doesn't really matter the Twitter you come from. We just want to talk to people about their favorite albums and stuff.
Sick.
So,
I
was gonna say like I'm gonna extend an invite to you at some point because like especially this is so nice to have me. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
Yeah,
And you know what's funny?
What's funny?
Is about you saying like how you don't know if you're like too much on Twitter. Like me asking you is straight up off of my judgment of your Twitter presence. Of just like, I like the ideas that you have, like the things that you say. Yeah. So I was like, I want to have this guy on.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like I said, how do I I'm glad you like what I say. I'm bad at taking compliments. You
Same,
ever
dude,
have
yeah,
that? Yeah, you just
I have
like don't
extremely
know how
low
to,
self-esteem. And
right,
super
right.
insecure,
You just don't know how to react to good compliments,
Yeah.
even though you get them all the time, or you get them some of the time, and it's just like I don't know what to do with
Right.
this.
Yeah, I have a voice in my head that hates me. So
Right,
it's like,
right.
It's like when someone compliments you, it's like, are you sure?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's. I don't know what I think about when it happens. It's just like I stall and I'm just like,
Yeah.
how do I proceed from here? So
Right.
So
Yeah.
thank you. I think that's how I'm supposed to react, and I appreciate that.
Totally.
Now it's going to encourage me to do it the same as I probably already
Do it up, man. From
Nothing was going to change, but
Right.
still.
at least from an outsider's perspective, I look forward to seeing what you have to say about a lot of things.
That's good.
And I think, dude, you get a lot of engagement on your tweets too. I think people like look to you for, especially Sabres stuff. Like I'm not a huge sports guy, you know what I mean? But like, I like being part of it, you know? So I've been on and off here's my whole thing. This is my argument.
It's tough to be part of it right now for
It
the
is.
Sabres.
And that's that's kind of my thing, right? And like, I hate to be a fair weathered fan, you know what I mean? But it's like, dude, like,
but I also
right
think it's okay. Like, honestly, when you think about sports and you think about how just things in general in your life affect you mentally.
Yeah, you want to see good things happen.
You want to see good things happen. And if you constantly see bad things happen,
right, you're not going to waste your time.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So unless you're a person like me who, that's your job and I have to do this. So it's just like, oh man, it's weird talking about this because like there's definitely the past few Sabre seasons. It's like it gets to a certain point and it's just like I'm miserable.
Yeah.
And I can ask for less shifts, but also I like money. So
Sure,
like I need,
sure.
it's not that I like money. I actually hate
Yeah.
it. But I need it. So
Yeah.
whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I like being connected to the fan base. I love the
that's what I'm saying.
community
You have
that's
that.
involved.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's cool. And what's funny is like, I remember you and I having a conversation on Twitter where I was like, am I supposed to keep watching? And you were like, for the love of God, if you're not getting paid to, stop watching.
That's exactly right. And honestly, I don't get paid enough to do that, but
None of
also
us do.
like, right, that's like a societal, like that's a systemic issue. Like
Sure.
I'm not trying to tackle my employer with this or anything. It's just like, some days it's like, after how many seasons it's been, it's just like, am I going to come back next season? And then in the summer, I start to miss it. And it's like, of course I'm going to come back next season.
Yeah, right.
Because I like working with all the people too.
Of course. And my whole thing is like so I'm 26.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was growing up, like I never got into the Bills because I just watched them suck forever.
Right.
However, when I was 11 years old, the Sabres were the best team in the NHL.
Right.
So as an 11-year-old kid, it was like, this is the most exciting thing. Like everybody around me is super excited about this one thing. So of course I'm going to be super into it. So I always was a guy who was like, yeah, I like the Sabres way more than I liked hockey more than football.
Yep.
Also just West Seneca is a very hockey town.
Yep.
So like
the
grew
Wings,
up,
baby.
hell yeah, man. All my friends are Wings. So like
Yeah.
I grew up surrounded by the hockey team. I hung out with the hockey team in high school. Like hockey players were everywhere. So like I always just generally, or I guess naturally, flew towards hockey more than football.
Sure.
Now my family is more into football than hockey, but it's just like, I don't know. I just like grew up watching all my brothers and my parents just scream angrily at a TV every Sunday. And I'm like, why would I like this?
Yeah. But at your age, what you didn't see was the greatness.
What they all got to see that I missed out on.
Right. And I didn't get to see that either. I'm 31. And
right, so you were a baby when
I was 1, 2, 3, and 4 when the Bills were in those Super Bowls. So just like I wasn't there. My first Bills memories were still playoff memories though.
Yeah.
So that's probably what got me.
Right.
And then again, just whatever that 20-year period was. And with the Bills though, football, it's easier to digest football.
One game a week.
1 game a week.
Yeah.
16 times a year.
Yeah.
So it's only really 3 months. The Sabres,
yeah,
that's October to April.
Right, it's a long season.
And
yeah,
at this point, that's a definite period. Disregarding coronavirus and all that good stuff, but still.
Yeah. So that was my whole thing. But now, the script's kind of flipped, and that's the thing. Again, I hate to be like a fair weathered fan, but it's like it's really exciting to watch the Bills right now, and the Sabres, like, I don't know. Like every year, like, I mean, not for the last few years, but like even like when we drafted Jack, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay, this is a big deal. You know what I mean? Like maybe this is going to start to revamp some shit here. We got the guy, you know, and then you're right. And every year it was like, oh, we got this other guy. And it's like,
right. It's every year you're just like talking yourself like off this ledge of sports fandom. And it's just like, no, they're going to be good this year. And then you experience the season. And like maybe they've had, I think since they drafted Jack, they had like one season where they were like kind of close, but not really. But other than that, it's just been a disaster year after year after year. So it's tough. Tough.
I will ask you, and then we can move on to a different conversation. Okay. But
it's been a while. I'm in the period where I'm like starting to be okay talking about it again.
Right. You got to get a little bit through it. Yeah, right. Yeah. You've had your little bit of I'll say for relevancy, your Bo Burnham moment of just like
And that was so don't ask me too much about it because like I watched that special in and out like how you watch something and you're also like phone, bored, you're on your phone, whatever. I want to watch it. I want to watch it closer because
I've watched it like 4 times now.
Yeah, so. I've only watched it the one time and it was just like there were certain moments where I'm like I should watch this again and pay attention to the whole thing.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way. Yeah, I anything, dude. I have to like put my phone in a drawer. You know what I mean? It's like I want to give my undivided attention to something.
Well, a big thing with me is I have ADHD, so that's just like my natural tendency is just to be all over the place. Like Buffalo Wild Wings is my place. There's 53 TVs. I'm all over the place. It's so awesome funny. And just like, but yeah, focusing has always been an issue with me.
Yeah. See, I feel like I have onset ADHD because of you know what I mean? Like I feel like I didn't have problems focusing and now I do because I'm just on it all the time and it's just fucked up my attention span.
Oh, see, I can remember. See, ADHD is a weird thing because it's like, when you were a kid, when I was a kid, it was explained to me as like this weird, like it's an excuse for like bad parenting or something like that, which when you hear that as a kid, you just sort of internalize that forever. Right. Sure. But it was fun. It wasn't until like my adult life where I'm just like, why can't I just focus on regular menial tasks? Like, why can't I just go to work and just do my job for 2 hours, go on break, like normal people do, at least in my head, that's what people do. No, I'm, at my job, I'm like, my attention was all over the place.
Yeah, same. And it was a desk job too, so it's
right. Oh man, and that's where it comes out the worst. Yeah. Like it was funny when I went through a period where I just quit my job. I just said I don't like my job anymore.
Good for you.
I think it's evil.
One of the hardest things you could ever do.
Oh my god, it was agony. Yeah. Just trying to figure out what to do, but like I was in a weird place where about 3 years ago I lived with my parents and I saved up a bunch of money and I never touched it. And finally in January of this year I was just like it was the second day of the year and I'm like I'm trying to be positive about it. I already didn't like the job, but I'm like, okay, fresh start, new year, new me, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you have to tell yourself.
And then I got an email that I screwed. Then I got an email that I screwed something up, and then I just like had a meltdown. I was just like, fuck this. So the next day, I like talked with my girlfriend, who's great, and just like really talked it out. She's like, I've seen you. You were unhappy, and it's because of this job always. And the work from home thing was kind of unique because we lived together. And so like we kind of got to see each other work at home, which is a very unique experience totally. For this time because we don't work in the same industry or anything. So it was like eye-opening to just be like, for somebody, one of your peers, one of the people that you love the most to tell you like, you are not right here. Like something it's just not you.
Crazy wake-up call.
Right. Yeah. So like, it's crazy how I quit that job and like immediately I was just better.
Yeah.
Like I immediately identified what the issue was.
It is wild, man. Even like, so I switched jobs through the pandemic too. I work for the same company, but I switched what I was doing. And in my old role, like when the pandemic first started, and I've explained this a few times, of just like, it was really like, I was tolerating my job for a long time because it was like, all right, at least I have my coworkers who I like. I liked my coworkers.
Yep.
And
yeah.
Right. There were the amenities, right? There were all these things that like were like, oh, well, this is cool. This is nice. This is good. This is good. And then when the pandemic happened and all those things were gone and it was like, now you just have the job. It's like, I hate this.
Right.
This makes me miserable.
Right.
And I had to work like way harder than I did because I had to like pick up a bunch of slack because of all these things that happened. And I did that for so long and just watched things spiral out of control until finally I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I moved into a different position. And once I did that, like once I started working my new role and realized, oh, like I can do something and not completely hate my life and not stress myself out and not like shit on myself all the time about it. Like,
oh man.
And it was a crazy, like, I felt like I got out of an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it was like, I didn't even realize how broken I was. You know, I was just like a little broken cat found behind a dumpster and someone took care of me.
It's funny that we talk about this and we both went through these similar experiences and you kind of think about maybe the things that spurred you to make that decision, right? Like if we were
hitting rock bottom,
right? Yeah. Okay. So right. Yeah. Right. But like I feel like a lot of us got there during pandemic, right?
Absolutely.
Just not talking to anybody, doing what we're supposed to do, whatever that is, whatever your definition of that was during that time, which for me was
really was. You know what I mean? Uncharted waters. Is like what?
Right.
How am I supposed to be handling this? Nobody knew.
Right.
You know?
I was trying to stay home as much as I physically possibly could.
Exactly.
For like at least the first 2 months. I mean. Eventually, I just relented. I'm like, I have to go to a grocery store. I can't do this online shopping pickup thing anymore.
Right.
Rely on somebody to pick the one brand of chip that I want, and it's like, oh, they're out, but we got you bread. It's like, oh, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
But either way, I think all of us during the pandemic sort of had this conversation with ourselves. It's like, what do we want? What are we looking for out of things, out of life, out of our jobs, out of our work? What are we doing here?
And that is what sparked me to start this whole podcast.
Right. Oh
was
man,
to
I
have
love
these
that.
conversations of being like, because that was the whole thing. Is I was here, and it was me, two of my brothers, both of their significant others, and my parents. And we were just having conversations. Like that's all we could do, right? We're all home all the time,
right?
So it's just we were always talking. And a lot of us made like different life choices throughout the thing and like changed up some shit, And it is crazy to when you sit back and you have the time, because in the pre-pandemic life when we're just all go all
the
what I mean? You have your routine, you get up early, you're exhausted, you get your coffee, you drive to work, whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing the same thing. We're just all going. And then when it stops, and then it's like, what are we doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are we living like this? And that's the whole thing that's crazy about like this whole labor shortage thing with people not wanting to work. It's like, dude, people don't have to be miserable right now. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's fucking awesome.
So they're riding the wave. And it's like everybody's taking that as like a bad thing. It's just like, no, it's just that finally people have a freaking bargaining chip.
Yeah.
They finally have something to say, no, asshole, I'm not going to do this shit for you for this amount of money. I'll do it.
Isn't it crazy when workers have the powers?
Right.
And isn't it nuts that a bunch of us turned into communists?
Communists, just...
not assholes.
Something like that. However you want to. I mean, you read throughout history, and there's such like a negative spotlight put on communism for no reason, just because it's not making anybody any money. I'm sorry, not making very rich people any money.
Much richer. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I've lost money, and Jeff Bezos has made trillions of dollars during the pandemic. Like what are we doing?
Yes. Yeah. That's the whole thing, man. It's crazy. How like much I mean I was already like a leftist, right? Like, I was already that kind of I was a big Bernie guy throughout college, and then whatever, and then through this pandemic I just started reading, you know what I mean? I just got lost on Reddit and TikTok, which led me to just find all these books and Marxism and all these things, and now I'm just like
okay, so it didn't lead you to like some rabbit hole of websites that are telling you that like
QAnon?
the deep state is going right.
It could have gone one of two ways.
Right, it always can.
You know what's so funny is like, And did you watch the QAnon documentary?
I haven't yet.
So there was a thing that the dude says in there, the dude who like originally started 8chan, which fun fact, he's from Arcade, New York. And which is the most arcade shit I've ever heard.
Sure.
And so he says the thing, he's like, there was a lot of things that happened in the past few years with just moving away from the mainstream. It just went in two different directions.
Yep.
But like at the core, as crazy as it sounds, like the ideas are pretty similar, of like the far right and the far left, of how like this anti-establishment thing started happening. We all know shit's fucked.
Yes.
There's just some of us that looked into why it's actually fucked, and then some of us that just went on 8chan and lost our minds.
Yeah,
and went
right.
down YouTube rabbit holes and those kinds of things. You know
well,
what
as
I mean?
we know,
So,
YouTube is every, only you can't watch a bad video on YouTube, right?
Right.
Right. Like everything there's good. All the information there's good. You should actually teach yourself everything from YouTube.
Yeah, totally.
No, don't do that. I was like, wait, I don't know. I don't think the audience knows me that well. No.
Right. No, I mean, anybody that knows me knows my sarcasm is at an all-time high.
Okay, so we're on the same level then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I got real into that kind of shit, and then started having those conversations with all my friends and stuff, and radicalizing as many people as I can, because it was just kind of like, wake the fuck up, dude. We're getting fucked.
Yeah.
You know?
I've mostly had good experiences, and just like not being like, all right, man, pick a side, but like that's essentially what we're saying, right?
Right.
Like
yeah.
And it seems harsh, but also when you consider that it's like on the basis of human rights, it's not harsh.
Right.
Like, yes, I'm picking a side on that. Sorry.
So, yeah.
Not sorry.
That's what I'm kind of, so going back to the India Walton thing.
Sure.
Like, it's super exciting. Like, not like
It's
whatever
so
your
exciting.
views are, like, how can you not, if you take the identity politics out of it, if you take the word socialist away, right?
Yep.
If you just look at, okay, this is a young black woman who had twins at 14 years old or something like that. You know what I mean? Worked her way out of poverty, became a nurse. You know what I mean? It's an incredible story of overcoming all these obstacles, and now is about to be a mayor of Buffalo, like over the guy who was billionaire funded, who was backed by, corrupt police unions and all this stuff. Like, it's like, when you look at those two things as just like a human being, how is that not something to celebrate, no matter what your views are?
For sure. Like
it's just
totally
just people. This is what happens when people choose what happens instead of money,
Right. And this is what happens when people choose people.
Right. Yes, exactly.
I think
instead of money choosing puppets.
Right. Right. And to me, like, for India's campaign and everything that went into it, like, it was a lot of hard work, groundwork, like just grassroots,
yeah.
baby. Like
going
door to door, making phone calls. Like, they had to go to. She got 11,000 votes. I'm sure she went to more than that amount of doors, made more than that amount of phone calls.
Yeah,
but just an incredible story against a guy who didn't even view her as a threat until 4 days ago.
Right.
Or whenever he started. That's the funniest part of this.
I don't think, I was paying attention pretty closely from the beginning.
Yep.
I remember when I don't even remember how I first saw her, but months ago, she popped up somewhere on my social media, and I was just like, whoa, interesting. And so, I went in and I was like, I love this woman, and started following the campaign and watching it just grow, and then talking to my friends about it, and, seeing it grow. And then I was just like, in the back of my mind, especially as if you supported Bernie Sanders over the years, it's hard to have hope for those kinds of candidates, because know the establishment's going to come in and just fuck them somehow.
Right. But
so when I got that text last night, I'm like, dude, what? Like, something I never expected, and it just makes me so fucking proud of Buffalo, and to know that there's a bunch of people that are on board here.
I agree. And honestly, it was before last night that I was like, it was when I found out like all those donations were being made like a week before the election. That's when I was like, oh, they're scared.
Yep.
They are. You don't do that if you're not scared.
So
just as soon as I saw, I've had a close eye on it the entire time, but when I saw that last week, I was just like, oh baby.
Yeah, totally.
So last night when I think I said I was recording the podcast, And in the middle of recording, I noticed it's 9:00. I'm like, okay, results are going to roll in soon. And the first ones came in from the early voting. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, just immediately, it was just like, what? Oh, okay. Yep. And just for the rest of the night, it was just like, I couldn't look away.
Yeah.
I could not look away.
It was phenomenal. Yeah. I was on Twitter literally all night because
Oh, yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have to be.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Like we said
it was
before.
so awesome. Yeah. And, yeah, the grassroots campaign thing is like, if that doesn't prove to you that there's a movement happening, you know what I mean? Like, if your views are so right and you're so correct on what you're doing, like, can you start a grassroots campaign to win it?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it shows you that, like, everything in every election, especially, again, going back to the Bernie Sanders thing, like, that was all grassroots campaigning. Like, and he got him to that level.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like that. There's something happening there when the establishment can't really keep up with it.
So the one thing about Bernie and his run was like when that didn't work, the thing that was said everywhere was, well, of course it didn't work. There's no groundwork laid for. There's no politicians. Like, there are very few politicians, progressive leaning politicians in local politics. Local politics is probably the hardest thing to get people to come out for.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's so annoying. And I don't know why that's not made more plain.
Right, it's the most direct thing that affects you.
Right. And for whatever reason, like, people just don't want to know about it, which I used to be one of those people. And then, like, as I've gotten older, it's just like, how do you not want to know about your representatives and who's around you?
Right.
The people who say, like, I don't talk politics, I don't pay attention to it, like, how are you like this?
Yeah. I know. I have a lot of people like that in my life, and it's tough because it is like, it's an unbelievably privileged take,
right.
You know, to say I just don't like politics. It's
it
like,
totally
because it doesn't affect you.
It totally
you know what I mean?
is.
But it does affect other people.
Right.
You know?
I don't know. There's people who think, like, you can only focus on yourself, and, like, that, for some that might be true, but, like, I'm me, and there's this whole world around me. Like, yes, there's only so much I can do, but I want to do something.
Right.
Like, when I see bad shit happening, I don't know what to do, but, like, I don't know. I just don't know, but I know that I want to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, and that's why I have that picture.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, Mike Silvestri. Shout out Mike Silvestri for taking that picture.
Very cool. Very cool.
But that's kind of how I've always been. You know what I mean? I'm going for whoever's going to do the most for the most people. You know, the most people who need it more than anything. You know, and it's like,
it's about that equity.
I think it's just
sure
crazy.
That everybody has equity.
Yeah, I think it's so super funny story. I was out at a lake house over the weekend with a friend's significant other's family, and there was some people there I was having a conversation with. I didn't know them at all, and this woman who was there asked, we were talking about something, and somehow gentrification got brought up, and this woman was like, what is that? Like, what's gentrification? Mm-hmm. So I explained what the concept is, whatever, and I was like, yeah, so it really just fucks over poor people, whatever. And her response was, well, why don't those poor people just get a job? And literally, dude, I couldn't even control it. My response was, whoa. And everybody started laughing, and then I just changed the subject because I was like, we are so off base on, like, where this conversation could possibly go. Like, I'm trying to, like, educate somebody, you know, and to me, it's like, it's obvious that fucking over poor people is a bad thing.
Right.
Like, and I feel like that should be something we all agree on.
Well, it's just funny how that viewpoint is insane to me. Like, do you remember ever, like, how many job hiring processes have you been a part of?
It's miserable.
Like, you don't just show up to the place you want to work and say, hi, I would like to work here, please.
Right.
And they just say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way.
Hey, poor people don't really have a resume.
Right.
Yeah. They don't have a cover letter, you know? And it's not the easiest thing in the world to just get one built up.
I mean, there's so many different factors into it. I mean, like, when you really get down to it, like, especially when you get down to, like, issues of homelessness, it's just like, how do you get out of that? It's just like, most people don't even have an address.
Right.
They like, what's the first thing you need to put on a resume? An address.
Yeah, right.
So, like, what do? You
can't even start from step one.
Yeah, like, places won't even look at you if you don't tell them where you are.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, it's crazy to me that people just say, just get a job. And
right.
It's just like,
it's like, you watch Always Sunny?
You've been a part, you're right. The jobbies joke.
What, I'm just supposed to get a job? They're scrolling on job trees and all the jobbies?
That's probably the best representation, the best, not representation. That's probably the best,
like the simplest
way to explain getting a job.
Right.
It's not just going out and doing it. It's just like, it's a sometimes months long process.
Right. Yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I was like, yeah, that was just like, that threw me so off guard that I was like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the Donald Glover bit of where he's like, I didn't even know you could say that.
Right.
Like, how is this? I think this person's a demon. I don't know how they got out. Like,
oh, that's from the Weirdo one, right? Yeah. That's a great spec. He's so talented.
Donald Glover's one of my favorite people in the world. Always, like, since I was in high school, I mean, since that special, I think, really. And I mean, I love Childish Gambino.
Yeah,
like, when I was like a junior, senior in high school, he was like just starting to make a name for himself.
Yeah,
you know,
because he came up as like a YouTube star kind of guy.
Yeah, he did the Derek comedy thing, and then he scored Community.
Community,
he was writing
on
30 Rock and SNL and all that stuff. So now
and then he's writing his own music, and then he's writing his own TV show, and then he's writing
that movie with Rihanna that he did.
I can't.
Guava Island, I think it was called.
Okay,
something like that. It was super good. It's a short film. It's like 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's on Amazon Prime. Super, super good though. It's like an artsy fartsy, exactly what you would expect from Donald Glover. It was at the same time that he was doing the This Is America. When he released This Is America, he dropped this movie that was kind of like the same type of thing. And the movie's about like an oppressive, it's like a fictional island where like this oppressive government exists where they don't allow people to like perform at all.
Oh, wow.
So like they're trying, and Donald Glover's character is trying to put on this festival, and like the government's trying to shut it down, but he's going on the radio promoting it anyway. And then like, you know, all sorts of madness ensues.
Of course.
But it's really, really good.
Cool.
And everything that dude does is fantastic. And I hope Atlanta season 3 is coming soon.
I still have to watch the first 2 seasons, but I've always heard really incredible things.
Yeah, really, really good. Really, I don't even know how to describe. Again, I just like describing everything as artsy fartsy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not your traditional drama series, you know. It's thought provoking, like Kubrick inspired kind of weird shit, you know.
TV shows are hard for me because like I never.
It's a lot of commitment.
It is,
and there's so many.
I very rarely get into a show at the time that it's like out.
Yeah.
And like currently showing episodes, like shows like The Office. I didn't watch that until like it was in the 8th season. It's like fine. Oh,
I didn't watch The Office till after it was done.
Right? Yeah. I that's me with a lot of shows. Probably most TV shows I've ever watched.
Sopranos for the first time.
I still have to watch.
I'm watching Seinfeld for the first time.
Oh man, that one. I was wrong about Seinfeld. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Like it was one of those shows where it's like, come on, it can't be that funny.
Yeah,
like why does everybody love this
show?
And then you just watch it through. I'm like, this might be one of the most smartly written comedies ever.
When I was working at my job, it was like a few years ago, I think it was, but we were having like a work meeting or something, and it was super early in the morning and I was exhausted, and a coworker of mine made like a Seinfeld reference, and I obviously didn't get it because I didn't watch the show, and he's like, you don't watch Seinfeld? And I was like, no, because I'm not 40 and I don't hate myself. Like, what are you? And then all of my coworkers were like, well, up in arms that I didn't watch. So I was like, all right, fucking relax. It's 8:30. And so from then on, so I've been slowly watching. Like every once in a while, I'll just throw on an episode, you know. And it is phenomenal. It cracks me up. It's really, really good.
I can't remember what my moment was where I just like said. I think it just came to Hulu, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
All the Seinfeld faithful. Oh, it's just that Jerry Seinfeld's a creep. Okay, I can say that. Okay.
Right. Yeah. That is funny because I'm literally not a fan of Jerry Seinfeld at all.
He's like not personally funny, and I think he's weird. Like the only people I care about from that show are Julia Louis-Dreyfus and
she's phenomenal.
And Jason Alexander. Oh, and Larry David, obviously.
Yeah. So a Curb guy as well.
Curb's another one of them. It's like I'm gonna do it, but at this point, I'm not watching shows out of annoyance. It's just there's just so many shows and a backlog of stuff I want to watch.
Yeah, I have a running list on my phone of like what I have to finish.
See, that's what I should do.
Yeah.
But I because I mentioned ADHD before. That's you just tend to live life by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without anything.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of miniseries.
Yeah.
Over the past year, I've been watching a lot of miniseries. Because it's just like, all right, I just got to get through like 8 episodes and it's over. Yeah. And I'm just a big movie guy as well. So, I go back and forth. Sometimes I just get into a movie kick where I only watch movies for like a few months, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I'll get into a show or something if it's worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to get invested in that stuff though.
Yeah.
And movies now, it's almost hard to get invested in some movies when it comes to like, I mean, I love Star Wars, but like Star Wars it's getting huge.
Yeah.
Like there's so much.
The Star Wars and
Star
Marvel
Wars is like the
stuff
one thing I do keep up on.
Yeah.
But and yeah, Marvel too.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones where I'm just like, okay, if I don't keep up on these, then like those are the ones where I'm like, I care about if the stuff here gets spoiled for me. So those are the ones I'm like, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm kind of the same way. Yeah. I still haven't seen all the Marvel movies.
Oh yeah.
But I've seen like the big ones, and then I've watched. I watched like WandaVision, and now I'm watching Loki, and I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you know, and
WandaVision was good.
WandaVision was so fucking cool, dude.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier was.
I forgot about it as I was talking about it.
It was a slow show. Yeah. It really had. It had like 2 good episodes.
Yeah. The ending was. I liked how it ended.
Yeah, his suit is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just. And
you know what, how they did bring like the race thing into it.
Yeah,
they did it in probably the best way they could have done it.
Sure.
I mean, it wasn't corny. It didn't feel like typical corporate surface level bullshit. You know what I mean? Like
even though
it's pretty good.
Even though it's Disney and Marvel,
right? Exactly.
So it still is.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
yeah.
You have to
view it with
understand.
a critical lens.
Yeah. Right. But also just like, oh, cool. Marvel, this is good. They're addressing this.
Sure.
And right. But like deep down, you're just like, they're doing it because it's
they do it because it's marketable.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's
which is like an annoying. You don't want to put it down to that, right? But it's also just like, that there's that level of it there, and so it's just like, what's the play there?
Right.
It's just I'm constantly suspicious of anything.
Of course,
people.
Yeah, you view everything with a critical lens.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I start every morning listening to NPR. Right. I listen to NPR up first, and I listen to my New York Times, The Daily, and both of those media outlets. You know what I mean? Like I know what they are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I know that they're for the establishment. You know what I mean? They love Joe Biden. I get it. But I still like listening to them because it's like I can still view it with a critical lens. You know what I mean? I think that's how everything should be.
Like you can't. Sometimes I see people as like, I saw this from the New York Times and I immediately had to get rid of it, and it's just like, well, it's still a good idea to keep your eye on, I don't know, high level news like that, or just like, I don't know. It's good to have
your information from somewhere.
Right. And it's good to, I'm not saying it's not good to have your alternative sources. Like, I'm not saying to go to the QAnon website and take that as gospel, but like, obviously, I don't know. There's a way to view, like you're saying, there's a way to view news with a critical lens, and like not being a weird like all media is bad guy.
Right.
Which
glad you brought that up.
That helps nobody.
Dude, you know what? And that's the thing is like, I hear people, there are so many, I feel like almost most people are like, oh, I'm so sick of the media. I hate the media. I both sides, these kinds of people. And it's just like, dude, it's like, I hear you and I get it, because yes, the media is completely, it's super frustrating.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The way they frame things, I get it. But it's like, but you can't just dismiss all of it, and
you can't just pretend nothing's going on.
Right. Exactly.
You can't be an ostrich, bury your head in this. I think I watched a video. They don't actually do that.
They don't bury their heads in the sand?
No, that's like a total myth. Supposedly. I think I watched a TikTok about it. You have a TikTok?
Yeah, I love TikTok. Yeah, it's my favorite thing in the world.
I maybe beginning of the pandemic, I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Yeah.
But then my friends just kept sending me them.
Right. And then you're just like, well,
I might as well
if I got to open this stupid app each time.
Right. That's the whole thing, is like, I was getting them and then I'm watching them in Safari, and that experience is horrible.
Oh
so
my
it's
God.
like, all right, well, I'll get the app so that I can open them in the app, and then finally I'm just start scrolling, and then it's just like, this is the best thing I've ever had.
The one thing I like about TikTok is that
TikTok doesn't make me feel like shit about myself.
Right. It makes you find out weird, cool stuff. And also you don't feel the compulsory need to follow your friends on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You just want to go on there and watch videos. You just.
I don't know these people. It's like Reddit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I like about Reddit too, is that Reddit is just like, I don't know these people.
Yeah.
You know?
It's oh man,
you just get
Reddit
to exist in your communities. And
see, now I'm glad you brought up Reddit, because
right,
Reddit's a cool cool. Reddit's complicated.
It is. It absolutely is complicated.
But I've met a lot of like hockey Twitter friends through Reddit.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of us noticed that we were very active, and then like eventually like you start trading ideas, and like
awesome.
These are the real people. When you're talking online, being online is so fascinating,
isn't it?
Because we have more access to people than we've ever had.
Yeah.
And that is probably bad.
It's good and bad.
Yeah, it's good and bad, because it's good to have a way. Maybe it's not. Every once in a while I see this tweet. It's like, maybe it wasn't a good idea that we created this thing where everybody's voice gets heard.
Bo Burnham says something.
Right? Yeah, something.
Too,
yeah. So, I've in the last probably like 4 or 5 years, I've just like I constantly think of how we use the internet a lot, and I don't change anything about how I use the internet.
Yeah.
But I do think about it, and my line of thought always gets me in a weird place with it. Like, how far will our reliance on technology go? And then also, like, are we ever going to be in a place where we don't know what the current technology is? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you remember, when technology started to be a thing? And I mean, I've been around, my parents, my mom is like, just
I remember
technology
when my family
cannot.
got our first computer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I remember how big of a deal that was.
Right.
I literally have the most vivid memory of them like bringing it in, like the delivery guy, and it was a Gateway box, and it was white and had the black spots. It looked like a cow.
And these things are huge back then.
Yeah. They're bringing in multiple boxes.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like maybe 3-4 years old. It's like one of my earliest memories in my head of them bringing it, which is so funny because I'm such a computer nerd now.
Right.
And this is clearly where it came from. Mm-hmm. Was that I just had they just brought in this machine. And I was like 4 years old, and I just sat down at it, and I just started.
Of course,
clicking,
you're fascinated by it.
Yeah, of course.
And I like how you said we just started clicking. That's how we learned it.
Right.
We just started clicking, and when that did one thing, we figured out that did a bad thing. We did the other thing.
Right. Yeah. And this is before I even like understood the internet. This was just using a computer, just using digital technology. You know what I mean? And then I literally just watched it evolve my entire life.
Your entire life.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
Remember when the iPod came out?
Right.
Remember when the iPhone came out?
It's all come so quickly
since
we've been alive.
And then it just happened faster and faster.
And faster.
Exponential. Yeah.
It's crazy.
We can't keep up.
Right.
It's
but we can. We keep up all the time.
Well, here's the thing, right? So this is what I have this theory that like the human brain, like we're evolving as humans, right?
Sure.
Clearly. Well, some of us are. We're trying to. But the thing is, the technology is evolving way faster than we can evolve. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I mean by it's hard to keep up, because like things keep changing so rapidly. And that's kind of where I try to find this balance between like in progressivism of being like, we got to allow people time to catch up, like with any sort of like standard we're trying to set in society. Like, and this is where the conversation, again, similar to how people are like, I hate all the media. I also don't trust people who are like, I hate cancel culture. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, I know why you hate cancel culture and you're annoying, but it's also like, I agree with you to a certain extent, because like, again, as we're an evolving species because of technology, people who spend all their day just, trying to communicate with people, trying to make everybody feel exactly how they want to feel. That's how we should be. Absolutely. But it's like, we got to give people time to catch up. And, and some people don't understand the technology, and like if people only, especially on each platform, as you jump from platform to platform, you see all pro India Walton stuff on Twitter. You hop over to your Facebook, you're not going to see the same thing.
So you said you took Twitter and Instagram off your phone. Facebook, I take off my phone.
I haven't.
I can't go on that website.
No, that website is terrible.
The only thing that
it's Idiocracy, the movie, as a feed.
The only thing that was keeping me on that website for so long was the fact that it came with a built-in calendar that tracked all the shows that you wanted to go to.
Yeah, I just track it myself now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just so much easier that way now.
I'm on the After Dark emailing list.
Honestly, it's not easier. But you know what? I just feel like a better person. Yeah, not constantly
that's the other thing.
On that.
Not everything is supposed to be insanely convenient.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I think is the bad part is we're getting way too comfortable. Everything is way too convenient.
Yep.
Like my thing is like, especially I live with my parents here. I'm doing the same thing that you were doing. I'm saving money. The housing market is a fucking mess. I'm chilling until that calms the fuck down. You know what I mean?
Good call. Because apartment living isn't it's you'll end up saving money that way. Just
right.
You're doing it right.
Yeah. So, and I'm aware of that, and but the thing is like, being here, like, I mean, my dad also loves technology. So like, like everything in here, everything in my house is like smart enabled, right?
Nice.
My parents remodeled the kitchen. I don't want to say I literally
you're just here for the ride.
Yeah. No, my parents had the kitchen remodeled, and we did all smart lights and, it's all voice controlled and all this stuff. And it's like, and I realized I'm like, I have it too good. Right. And I didn't earn any of it.
Right.
And it's just all convenient and comfortable. And it's only going to get more convenient and comfortable. And it's going to make me way more like coddled. And you know what I mean? It almost makes my anxiety worse.
Yeah.
Knowing that I don't have that little bit of uncomfort or the little bit of a task or a chore to do when these things get taken away. So it's like this weird balance you have to try to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing is, though, and I think it's very important that the thing is that you're aware of that. You're telling me all of this stuff, and like the fact that you know that, like
I can sense it. Yeah.
Right. Just tells me like
look at Amazon as itself.
Oh my goodness. I try to avoid Amazon as much as I possibly can, but also
they had the most convenient service of all time.
Right. And also in a lot of ways you literally can't avoid Amazon because they own 90% of the internet and traffic.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like everything is Amazon Web Service now.
Yeah.
It just,
everything's hosted on there.
Everything's hosted. Like, they use Amazon to sell stuff.
Yeah. And even in just the hardware that you get from Amazon Prime, like it's just like when you need something super specific and you need it super fast, there's nowhere else you can go.
That's right. Or like if you need an iPhone charger.
Yeah.
Don't go to freaking Walmart, Target, and pay $20.
Right? You can find a cheap one. You can
find a 6-pack for $13 and be good for until your next phone.
Right? Until they maybe they'll all break, but at the end of the day,
they're all cheap quality.
Term,
right?
You got 6 of them.
Right?
Just
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, also they're aftermarket, so they might ruin your phone too. But hey, who knows?
Yeah, dude. Fucking
nothing is like.
It's crazy.
I know.
And that's literally, I think Amazon's the best example of that.
Yeah.
Of things being way too convenient, because when you make them that convenient, everybody flocks to it. It just makes it this big, big, big machine that just exists, that continues to expand. You know what I mean? Like like a wholesome Amazon could exist. But the problem is Jeff Bezos is just a fucking evil person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all these guys, they're just Elon Musk. They're all just these fucking antichrists of people,
For sure. And like people are just like, well, they earned all their money. It's like, yeah, no, they did. How did they do that?
Right.
Tell me how they did that. The workers earned all that money for that.
The most blanket statement you can ever make towards it, and you can't defeat the argument, is that no human being has ever worked hard enough to create a value of $1 billion.
Nope.
And nobody ever will. And that's why that's fucked up. When people wanted to defend these guys and be like, they worked for that money. They smartly, like, dude, some people literally are like, it's like they did so by exploiting workers and exploiting labor. And some people are just like, cool. They're like, yeah, that's smart. And it's like, no, that's fucking evil.
Yeah. The argument is, well, they give other people opportunities. It's like, okay, they give some people opportunities. They don't give everybody.
They're fucking most people over.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, right. And especially at the end of the day, like all of those places, you're just a data data factory.
You're a number.
Your personal information, and you're an algorithm. You're ads we need to serve you.
Yep.
Do you listen to Jeff Rosenstock?
No, but
you should listen to
Jeff
Rosenstock.
I know. You know what's so funny is Jeff Rosenstock, like as a household name, has just been around for as long
as I've been alive.
So I don't. He's like, is he like an emo guy, or
he's he's mostly been a ska punk guy.
Okay,
and now he's just more. Now he's more of just a punk guy.
Okay, and he's very anti-establishment kind of guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Most of the ska punk guys are.
Yeah. That's why I've always liked ska.
So
punk.
he's like a ska punk like legend.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Like he was in a band called the Arrogant Sons of Bitches.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they broke up a long time ago, but like I remember hearing that. I've listened to a lot of ska bands, and like only that and like Streetlight Manifesto are still the ones that like speak to me, and I'll still.
I think Streetlight's the greatest ska band of all time.
I have trouble with that because like Streetlight themselves will be like, please don't call us a ska band.
Right. So let's go into that conversation real quick because I was just talking to my buddy Dan about this because we were listening to Streetlight driving somewhere, and I was just like, because I'm not a huge ska guy, you know what I mean? When I was younger, like Real Big Fish, whatever, that kind of shit, I would fuck with it, whatever. I'm more of just like a straight pop punk kid, too. Like that's what I grew up with. You know what I mean? And so ska was always, but Streetlight was one band that I'm like, this band is so fucking sick. And I'm like, and I don't know what it is about them that's just like, of all the ska world, that's one band that I'm like, this is a band I can listen to all the time. You know, like some ska, it's like, all right, I need to be in the mood for this. You know, like, so I don't know if, as a ska fan, why is that?
So with Streetlight, they care too much about themselves to refer to themselves as a ska band. They care too much about themselves as musicians.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, so right, because there's a negative connotation with self-identifying as ska.
That's finally melting away, I think. Yeah. There's like a ska revival kind of going on right now. Yeah, it's kind of neat. But like also, like when you think ska revival, it's not like into the popular scene or anything, but like it's like new bands are finally coming back out of that scene again, which I think is exciting. But the thing with Streetlight is all those guys except for Thomas, the lead singer, all those guys are professionally, like they went to school, they all have like their masters. Like their one bass player, like he had to drop off a tour because he was finishing his master's degree. Like those guys care about it so much. And they focus on so many different types of genres, but it ends up sounding like ska because there's horns. But really, they're just a punk rock band that just
has horns.
Yeah. Which is like an annoying way to put it because everybody will say like, well, isn't that what ska is? And it's like, well, no, ska's like this whole
reggae.
It's reggae. Yeah. It's actually like, it's like originally from Jamaica. Yeah. Like it's this whole thing. And like white people kind of co-opted it into this thing now. Right. So like, but also like, that's also not like a terrible thing. Like it's great to see people like taking these influences from everything and being able to morph it into something else. Sure. That's always great. But at the same time, it's just like ska now is probably unrecognizable from what it originally was.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. So much as like, that's just how things evolve. I mean, it is what it is, but at the same time, I don't know, just Streetlight, I can talk for hours about them, honestly.
Yeah,
I've seen them
fucking incredible.
I've seen them 10 times.
Nice.
They're just I've traveled all over the place to see them.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Is that your like all time? Do you have an all time?
I think so. Yeah, they're the band that like spoke to me the most, like in high school and stuff. Just like I mean, all the themes on Streetlight pretty much hit me straight in the face in like high school, college.
They do. Like, they're like lyrical content, the way they present it with like the gang vocal type of stuff, all this, like it's cool.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's tough not to speak to you,
right,
especially if you have any sort of like relation to the punk music at all.
Right.
You know?
But when you get that right down to it, they're just big old lefties. It's great.
Yeah. As they all should be.
Of course.
What I mean, I always find it strange when like a conservative comes out of like those kinds of scenes. It's like, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
How did you get here?
Yeah.
You know?
Like what was this?
Like conservative hardcore bands.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I'm like, maybe I'm just ignorant to that, but like the thing that's coming up the band that's coming up right now is like Trapped.
Yeah.
Like, and all the drama that was with them the past year and a half, just like you hadn't heard of this band since that Headstrong song. And it's just like, how 15 years later this guy ends up being a racist piece of shit. Like, okay.
Yeah, unreal. Have you heard the shit about
ends up being, he probably always was.
Right. Have you heard about this shit about Eric Clapton? I just heard about this recently, that Eric Clapton's huge like openly racist person.
Yeah.
And is like apparently did some like keep England white campaign concert thing.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like real deep, like fully openly racist, and just like him and Van Morrison did some like anti-vax collab album or some shit like that. I don't know. I just heard about this recently, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what a weird angle.
There's some weird, like, I feel like when you're a teenager or whatever, you think like the only, well, I guess you're probably not thinking about politics when you're a teenager, but like to me, like as I've grown up, and this is kind of been wrong, but like to me it was just like most of the right wingness came from country music, right. But then like you actually go into country music,
yeah, the history of
like,
country music, it's like was very rebellious.
Oh yeah,
but and that's like been, and
over time that's tried to have been covered up by mainstream country and like all of that. So I've like come around on country and my views on that. It's just like, oh no, I just don't like 106.5 or anything that goes on there.
Yeah.
But like if you like actually look into it, like Johnny Cash was incredible. Like one of the best country artists of all time.
Punk as fuck.
He's so punk.
Yeah.
But that's not the genre he was in. But that dude, I listened to one of his albums the other day, and like I'm like trying to like do this thing where I am trying to get into everything.
Yeah.
Like
go ahead.
Yeah. So like when I was a kid, I was just constantly staying with what was in now. I like very rarely went back. Like my parents listened to Queen or whatever.
Queen. I think I've always said Queen is the greatest band of all time.
They're so good. They're like every member of that band is talented. Yeah. Like Brian May's a physicist, which is like that everything. Like old bands are like there's a reason classic rock bands and all that. There's a reason they're put onto a pedestal, and
Absolutely.
It's just like they get the credit of doing it before everybody else. Like the beat, I've been on a huge Beatles kick. Like
I saw you tweet, and I'm so glad you brought it up, because that honestly, this tweet is what made me like, I'm gonna have him on the podcast.
Thank you,
because it's my favorite take is that I think you just tweeted, imagine thinking the Beatles are overrated.
Imagine,
dude, it is my biggest pet peeve, because it's like, because I know so many people, especially like punk people, that are just like, dude, fuck the Beatles. And it's like, you literally,
without the Beatles, you don't have punk, man.
Dude, you
don't have anything.
You don't get it. Like, you just don't get it, because what you're doing right now, if you're a person who didn't grow up with I grew up with the Beatles. If you didn't grow up with the Beatles, and you're just going back and listening surface level to the music without any context, like, of course it's not going to appeal to you, because it's evolved. Everything that you know as American popular music evolved from that.
Yep.
Like everything. And so if you don't understand the context, you don't understand why it was such a big deal, and you're just listening to the music and being like, I don't get it, and calling it overrated, fuck you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand what that band fucking was.
Yep.
You know, and how it started.
Yep.
Dude, listen to the first like singles they were doing in the 50s, and then go listen to Sgt. Pepper and listen to how that band, no bands were doing that.
Nope.
Bands were doing that.
They were the first ones to say, let's stop writing singles. Let's write a cohesive album.
Complete project, yeah.
All right, and then they took that. So that was Rubber Soul.
Yep.
And then, then Revolver, and then came Sgt. Pepper.
Right, exactly.
And that's when at that point, the Beatles like completely reinvented what a studio recording, just completely reinvented everything about it. Everything. Except for, and this is the funniest thing to me, they were innovators of so many different studio techniques, double vocals, reversing the tape so that it sounds weirder, all that stuff.
Just fucking around and seeing what happens.
They did not fuck with stereo until after all that stuff was recorded.
Right.
And that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because George Martin said, he said it was a gimmick. And that blows my mind.
Yeah. Crazy. I can understand thinking that, because it was like that, mono, was like that for so long.
Yeah.
It was just everything down the middle.
Yep.
Yeah. That is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess.
I now that you're saying it to me, like, I can probably understand that mentality.
People didn't want to split.
But no, but I'm sure that I've been doing so naturally. As I listen to the Beatles, I've been reading about them. I read Wikipedia, all the Wikipedia articles.
You go down rabbit holes. I do the same thing.
So, So all this information is like fresh in my head too, because I've just been reading about it a bunch lately. But yeah, they're just I've had so many people that I know are just like, whatever the Beatles, they're overrated. And I don't know what made me tweet that day. I was just I was listening to them, and I'm just like, there was, what was it? Probably White Album or something like that, which that one's just a collection of 30 singles, and they're all just amazing.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I love a lot of the stuff on the White Album.
Yeah. But like, it was then, I'm just like, how do you think this is bad?
Right.
Like, no other band before the Beatles sounded like this. Like,
right,
this
exactly,
is just insane.
And that was the whole thing. And all the other bands that existed at that time, you know what I mean? It's not like the Beatles were the only band that existed, but every other band was just trying to compete.
Yep.
You know, like without Rubber Soul, you don't have Pet Sounds.
Nope.
You know, like that was the whole thing. Brian Wilson writing Pet Sounds was his.
He wanted to be better than the Beatles.
Exactly. When Rubber Soul came out, he was like, dude, like, how are we supposed to compete with this? And he just literally drove himself insane. Writing Pet Sounds, you know, to compete with Rubber Soul. And then when Pet Sounds comes out, Paul McCartney says, God only knows is the best song I've ever heard.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then they write Sgt. Pepper.
Yep.
You know, and it's just like,
yep.
And that's what led to everything that exists in popular music and in pop culture with music. Like,
I think my other favorite thing about the Beatles is how both they influenced Bob Dylan to have like a whole backing band, and Bob Dylan like showed like, I think Ringo was like already a big like Americana, like folksy guy, country guy, but like Bob Dylan was like basically was the one who was just like, you should incorporate that a little bit into your sound. It's because they were on a tour together or whatever. Right. Like Dylan and the Beatles, Dylan's another one I want to just dive into.
Yeah, there's that one documentary, but it's so long. It's like 3 hours. Oh. And I remember I watched part of it. I took a class at Fredonia called History of the Music Industry, and we watched part of the documentary of the Bob Dylan. And it's like not edited. Like, it's just all raw footage, just like in a random order of like this, like, I don't know what it was, but I remember being like, this is the most boring thing I've ever watched, and it really bummed me out because I wanted to know more about Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I remember I watched that Showtime did a documentary series about the Basement Tapes. Which I thought was super cool, and that whole idea of like just getting a cabin in the woods and just sitting there for months and just writing and recording every idea that you have, and it just became this whole thing. And then every unused idea they brought. Do you know the thing about the new Basement Tapes?
No.
So the new Basement.
I'm not very. That's what I'm saying. I like have to go down that.
Okay,
that
yeah.
hole
This
of
is all
Dylan.
I know. This is the most that I know. Beyond this, I don't really know. So the Basement Tapes was a whole series that Bob Dylan and his band did, where they just got this cabin in the woods, converted into a studio, and just lived there for a few months and just wrote and, you know, recorded everything that they had. But a lot of it was just lyrics. And so a few years ago, they started this band called the New Basement Tapes, it was like Marcus Mumford from the Mumford & Sons. Elvis Costello was part of it.
Nice.
A few other just like big name people that they just formed this like super group, and they took a few of these unused lyrics from the Basement Tapes era of Bob Dylan and wrote their own songs around it.
Oh wow.
And it's super cool. There's a documentary about it on Showtime. It's super fucking cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so that's all I got on Bob Dylan though, but
either way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's been weird going. I feel like I've constantly lived in today with music, so I've just been like trying my best to listen to everything that came before. And it's hard. There's so much.
I went down a Beach Boys rabbit hole for a while, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then now I found this. Actually, my boss showed me. There's this podcast series that The Ringer is doing. I don't know if you're familiar with The Ringer. It's a Spotify original that The Ringer is doing. It's called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s.
Okay.
In each episode, there's going to be. I mean, still going on right now, but it's going to be 60 episodes.
Right.
And what's cool about it is it's not like a VH1 countdown kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's not like the 60 best songs of the 90s or the 60 like songs that, you know, I don't know. It's just like 60 songs that like, they're not necessarily good reviews of the songs. They were just songs that were important at the time culturally and like everything that was going on around them. And it's amazing because I like going down these rabbit holes, right? So like, the one I listened to, one of the first episodes, they do Cream by the Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay.
And the whole episode was like incredible about this whole story of the Wu-Tang Clan and everything. And then he mentions the Showtime documentary series about Wu-Tang Clan on that episode. So I was like, oh shit. So now I'm watching that, right? And now I'm getting super into Wu-Tang Clan, right?
Wu-Tang's awesome, man.
Dude, it's amazing. And I've always been a fan of Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? I just never really went down the rabbit hole. So now I'm watching this documentary series. And now there's a Hulu series that's like a re-dramatization or just dramatization that like RZA produces about like their whole story. And I'm just like all in it. So, nice. And then there's another episode that I listened to that was Mayonnaise by the Smashing Pumpkins. Smashing Pumpkins is another band I never really got into. You know, I know the hits, but like I love the 90s grunge era and shit, so went down the Smashing Pumpkins rabbit hole. Siamese Dream is one of the fucking coolest albums I've ever heard. And they talk about on this podcast about how like why Smashing Pumpkins just didn't take off, and it was just because Nirvana just beat him to it.
Yep.
That was really it, you know?
Oh, man. Nirvana is a band I was dumb about for a very long time.
See, Nirvana's a band I've always been obsessed with.
Yeah.
I've read...
You were right and I was wrong. And now I'm there with you.
Yeah. I remember in middle school, my middle school library had 3 different biographies about either Nirvana or Kurt Cobain, and I read all of them cover to cover. And I just was like obsessed with... Like, I just wanted to be Kurt Cobain, you know what I mean? Like, he was just the guy that I wanted to be. Like, it was just like, you know, I just related everything that, I mean, actually, his upbringing until his parents got divorced was extremely similar to mine. And I think that's why I was so drawn to it. When I read these biographies, I was just like, whoa, like this literally feels like my life.
Yeah.
You know, so I was just, and you know, I've always wanted to like had the rock star dream, whatever. And so Nirvana's just always been one of my top bands. But that's another band that people are going to always just call overrated just because they're one of the biggest bands in the world.
And
Nevermind is insane. That's an album I feel like you can listen to without context.
Yeah.
They just put it on,
yep.
hit play, start to finish, and like, how does it not blow your fucking mind?
I know.
Dude? It's insane.
I a few years ago, you know Chelsea O, right? Chelsea
yeah, she's going to be on the podcast, actually. I hit her up recently.
Nice. Very cool.
So that's how I know you, is through Chelsea.
Right, because I was in Stress Stalls at the time, and you were the other me or something at the time.
Yeah. But I was doing the radio show.
Oh, right, yeah.
In Fredonia, that was her show. She started that show.
That's
right.
I
ended up taking it over. So her and I have always had a...
So, of course you know Chelsea.
Yeah,
I should have known that. We've played the show together before. But either way, why did I bring this up? We played a Nirvana cover show.
Oh, cool.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Big fan of cover shows.
Yeah. So like every Halloween, Mohawk Place has like some bands and they'll all do like full cover shows. We'd done it before. We'd done Pixies. That was a great show. But this time we did Nirvana, and that was like really the first time I was able to just really sit down and take apart Nirvana, and that's when it hit me. I was just like,
this band is nuts.
These song structures are so weird and good. So like Kurt Cobain hates normal song structures, and I love that he hates that.
So same thing. So like I've always like I grew up with, so like it's hard to pick an all-time favorite, but I guess I would pick Blink-182, and which a lot of people are going to will always groan at me for it. I don't give a fuck, because it was just like, that is the band that's just like at such a young age I connected to.
I'd grown in their current form, but I loved early Blink. I don't know how you don't. Like for me, Enema of the State was 1999. I was 10 years old. I was just discovering Dirty Words. Like,
that's the perfect age to be at when that album came out. Yeah. So I didn't discover Blink, at least how I remember it. I probably heard them before, but I remember there was a specific day. It's crazy how I have these weird memories in my brain, dude. But there was a specific day when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. I remember me and my brothers we were all getting ready to go to church. It was a Sunday morning, and we were living in South Buffalo, and my brother's just on the computer and just like that same Gateway computer and just like playing random songs, and The Rock Show was the single. Okay. So The Rock Show had just come out.
So 2001, 2002.
Yeah, it might have been 2000.
Okay.
Because 2001 was Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Right,
so whenever The Rock Show came out, because it was a single at the time, and it was a new song, and my brother was playing it, and I remember I was just 5 or 6 years old, and it just caught my attention. I was just like, what is this?
Yep.
My brother's like, Blink-182. It's called The Rock Show. And I just like listened to it over and over and over again, over and over again. And then from then on out, I just listened to that band forever. And but now I play in a Blink-182 cover band. And when I
gotta see that.
When we started that, back to the beginning when we said booking shows again.
You're close, huh?
I've been sending out emails, and it's just like nobody's fucking responding. So we're trying though. So hopefully something will happen. If anybody wants a Blink-182 cover band to play anywhere, hit us up.
I'll put out some feelers.
Cool. Yeah.
I've got 2,500 followers on Twitter. Somebody has
really?
to.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's sure.
The thing with the Blink-182 cover band is like, I would love, like, we were doing the first show we ever did was a private party.
Yeah.
And it was super fun. So like any like
private parties are, if you're a band, play a private party.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
You get
even,
like decent money, like,
right,
because you can kind of charge. I'm not a business guy. Don't listen to me.
Right.
But like private parties are where it's at if you're a cover band or anything.
Yeah. And so I play I got the Blink cover band, and then I just have like a 90s 2000s cover band, which is just post prom. We just started a 90s cover band to pay for our record.
Right. You called it
Posture Promise.
That's right. We
just made post prom longer.
Amazing.
Which is so funny because it's such a stupid name and it makes no sense, but like we don't give a fuck. And but the first show we ever did with that was a wedding, and that was awesome. And then we did a few more weddings, and it's just, the private party thing is fucking awesome. Yes. But anyway, so when we started the Blink cover band and I started learning these songs was when I, like, the same thing with your, like, I had already loved the band, but it just made me appreciate, like, I'm like, dude, Tom DeLonge is an extremely underrated guitarist. Dude, some of these songs are like, that's so fucking cool. Like, they're so fun to play because he had such a unique way of playing the guitar, and the way he wrote these songs were like really what made them what they were. So,
are you an Angels guy?
To a certain extent. The first like 2 albums or 3 albums, whatever. The Love albums.
Yep.
Love Part 1 is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
The
first
We
three,
Don't Need to Whisper is phenomenal.
And I Empire. All three of those are
all
great.
3 of those phenomenal.
Those are what Blink-182 was fine to me. I wasn't obsessed with them like you were, but I did love them. But I didn't get super into Blink until I listened to Angels.
That's super funny.
And was like, holy shit! Like Tom can write a song any way he wants to.
The Adventure. When I first heard that song, because that was their first single.
Yep.
I remember I remember this too. I remember when I first heard the song. I was getting ready for school. And me and my little brother used to just, when we were getting ready for school, we just put MTV on, and they played music videos in the morning. And it was like, if it was a new song, they put world premiere at the bottom. So it was like world premiere, Angels and Airwaves, The Adventure, whatever. And I'm watching it, and this is it. So like, it was a weird time. So this is like what, 2005?
Yes.
Right. So I'm 10. And I don't really know, like, I love Blink-182's music, but I don't really know who they are.
Yep.
So I don't know that this is the guy from Blink-182 in front of me, right? And I'm just watching this, but then I start hearing him sing. And I'm like, this is Blink-182. Like, am I watching Blink-182? Like, because his voice is so recognizable. And then I realized it's not Blink-182. I didn't even know they were broken up. Like, I was so disconnected. Like, I had no idea how this shit worked.
Right. You're 10.
Yeah. I just know the songs.
Right.
So, and then I heard The Adventure, and like, dude, that song to this day might be a top 10 all-time song for me. Like,
it's like it's weirdly, it lifts you up almost.
Yeah,
in a way. And plus you're watching the video and Tom's just sort of dancing around with it, like he's the guitarless vocalist he always wanted to be. Even though, like, I love you, Tom, but like,
oh, he's off the rails.
We need that pitch shifter for you, bad buddy.
So. The Adventure, about what you were saying about how it makes you feel. Going back to the Other Me, there was an Other Me song that I had a lyric that said, we like songs that make us feel invincible or whatever. And that is literally a direct line about songs like that.
Yes.
Like those songs that make you feel like you could run through a fucking brick wall. You know what I mean? Like, I also think of the scene in Perks of Being a Wallflower when they're in the truck and listening to Heroes by David Bowie, and they're just like arms in the air. You mean those kinds of songs that's my favorite shit. Any Gaslight Anthem song. Anything that Brian Fallon's ever.
I was going to say Brian Fallon in general is just, I celebrate everything the guy's written. Like, all his solo stuff is great too. Like, there will be days where I'm listening to his solo stuff and I'll be like,
that's a rabbit hole I gotta go down.
This is better than Gaslight.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Like, just the way he's always been a good songwriter now, but now he's like a better technical.
Yeah.
Like, he's worked real hard on it. Like, and he's even like talked about like how he's just like, a guy in a studio told me if I played the way I played, I'd never make it. And
Right.
like ever since then.
And he just listened. Yeah.
And it's funny because I remember seeing that, and I have a similar experience where I'm just like trying to track bass in a studio, and it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, what the fuck? It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and ever since then, it's just like, before I go to a studio, I seriously make sure that I know what I'm doing
Yeah.
and I know what I'm going to lay down.
Yeah, dude. Since I started going to GCR,
Oh,
since I started working with
you
Jay
work with Jay?
Zabricki,
Oh,
yeah.
Jay, if you're going to watch this, you made me, you really
Same,
made
bro.
me,
That's why I
you
got
really,
that motherfucker's face tattooed
yeah,
on
I
my
was going to
arm.
say,
Yeah.
like, I see Jay's on
Yeah.
your arm at all times.
Well, I got these are all Jay bands on my arm.
Oh,
that I
okay,
got
cool.
Tattooed. So
Nice.
that's but working with Jay professionally, like, yeah, it was kind of the same thing. Like,
he only needed to say something to me once, and
Yeah.
ever since then, I've just taken it so
yeah,
much more
and
seriously.
I've become such a way better musician since working with Jay and
Me
just
too.
working at GCR Uni. I mean, when you're working in just like a real professional studio, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it puts a new layer on it of like, all right, we're fucking doing something here, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, so time to show up.
GCR is it's, you feel things when you're recording there, honestly.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Especially
studio, man.
have you ever been there and Robbie just walks in?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh,
Dude,
it's great.
so when we were, I actually have never told this story publicly, and I will now.
Nice.
But we just recorded a post-prom album. We finished it up last like September.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's been in the works for a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be. What's so funny is by the time it's released, it's gonna be over a year since it's been like done tracking. So.
Yeah.
The mixing and mastering process it took a long time. It's a full length album, you know,
Yeah.
so it's been some of the songs were some of the first songs we wrote as a band. So it's been a long time coming for sure. But when we were making it, we were doing guitars, and it's during COVID, so only a few of us can be there. So it's just me and Charlie there for most of the guitar days. And the Goo Goo Dolls were demoing upstairs. And so there was just a few days where John Resnick was just like hanging out, you know, and he was just like popping into our sessions and just like shooting the shit with us. It was really
cool.
fucking cool, especially as Goo Goo Dolls was like a huge, like, I mean, I've always loved Buffalo, you know what I mean? And like when I found out the Goo Goo Dolls were from Buffalo, I was maybe like 10 or 11 years old, and that's when I just gravitated towards that band, and I was like, oh, I want to know more about this. As a person who was like, you know, as a 10-year-old who wanted to be a guy who made it out, I'm going to look into this band that made it out, you know? And just, I've always been like, John Resnick was like my fucking hero growing up, you know what I mean? Like, cause he was the guy, he did it. He did what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And so that was just a very surreal moment of him just being popping in. And then there was one day when we were there, and Charlie might know the story better than I do, but cause I was kind of completely fucking just like stargazed by the whole situation, is that he let us, he heard something, he knew what we were going for, and just was like, here's this guitar. And it was like his old like yellow Ibanez. It's like an $8,000 guitar.
Yeah.
And he just hands it to Charlie, and he's like, give that a go.
And I know Charlie's just sitting there like,
yeah, right. Yeah. Like, dude, this, like, yeah. And John Resnick is a fucking shredder, dude. That dude is a phenomenal guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
So, so Charlie, there are parts on our new album that Charlie is playing John Resnick's guitars.
Holy shit,
like,
man.
that was personally handed to him by John Resnick. You know what I mean?
One day
So,
when you're like you've made it and all that, and you have a Wikipedia article for the album,
That's
you
the goal.
can you can literally say what you recorded with
Right.
John Resnick's.
you know what's
Ibanez.
funny? I took notes of every single piece of equipment we used on the
Good.
record on each song. We had a giant spreadsheet. Every head, cab, guitar, bass, like everything we used, I put it. So every song, there's notes of what we did, which
Nice.
I wanted to do on purpose because it was just such a big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making my first real full length album. So
Yeah, that's something like 20 years from now, for its 20th anniversary, you include that as like a special piece.
yeah, right. With
Like-
the vinyl, just like a sheet that's
Right.
just like, on this song we use this and this, and
Yeah.
this person's playing this instrument and whatever.
Yeah.
Hopefully it pays off that well.
I mean, I think the world of you guys. Like,
thank
you see me every once in a while. I'll post. That's what I do now. I take screenshots of what I'm listening to and I tweet it out. And
I do remember you.
And I think,
posting.
does anybody give a shit about this?
Right.
I don't care. I
Yeah.
give a shit about it, and that's all that matters. But yeah, post prom is. I can't wait. I'm happy to hear that. Can you share a release date? It's okay.
We don't
if
have
you
one
can't.
set.
Yeah?
We don't have one set. So Charlie's been in Utah.
Yeah, he's been having a hot guy summer, right?
Yeah, he's been crushing it. He's been having the best time. He looks like he's the happiest he's ever been.
Yeah.
But he's leaving. I know he's leaving Utah, I think today or tomorrow, and he's going to Colorado for a little bit, and then he's coming home. He's got to be home.
Are you sure? Every time he tweets, I'm just like, is he coming back?
Dude, I know. So I know he said he has to be back by the 2nd, which is next Friday.
Oh, okay.
So he has to be back by then because he has a wedding or something. So he will be back next week at some point. So we'll see. But we were supposed to shoot the album art and shoot a video with Ben Lieber months ago, but John and I both got COVID. So that got put out. And then right after, Charlie went to Utah.
Of course.
So now he's coming back. We're shooting the video, shooting an album art. Then we have to submit it on all the distribution. Well, we're gonna try to shop it a little bit, see what we can do. We want to shop it as a completed project, So,
sure.
And then if put it on the distribution sites, submit it to playlists. Try to get it as big as a release as we can, which is gonna take some time. So
yeah,
fall. That's all I know.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll have a single out by September.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens, but I'm in no rush to put it out really, just because I just want to make sure it's done the right way, that we're doing it exactly how it should be doing it, so it gets into the most ears as possible.
Good.
That's literally
awesome.
all we're trying to do, so but I think people are going to really like it, just because the lyrics I wrote on it are just all about a lot of what we were talking about earlier about I almost just dropped the album name, which we've been keeping secret. I literally almost just dropped it. But
you could always edit. And
that's
stuff
true.
Like that.
Yeah, I try not to though.
Yeah,
but but the album is just about how we carry ourselves in the world, in the digital age, and how we let it affect us, and that kind of stuff, and how it plays into our relationships and all those kinds of things. So I think I really hope it resonates with people. I hope people find it relatable. And I'm really proud of what we did. I think it's fucking cool. And I think people are gonna like it. I think you're gonna fucking love it.
I can't wait.
There's just 90s rock influence. There's just Jimmy Eat World, Gin Blossoms, Goo Goo Dolls, Third Eye Blind just sprinkled all over it. So
nice.
Yeah. Nice. That's my shit. What are you working on musically?
Nothing personally. I've never been much of a writer.
Sure. What bands are you?
What bands am I? So I think I might be able to drop this. I'm gonna say it. Do you know Brendan Orr of the Strokes?
Of course,
the Strokes
one of
cover
my best
band.
friends.
Brendan's the man.
Yeah.
I guess they're.
Him and I played T-ball together when we were 5.
I guess their drummer needs to take a couple of the Strokes shows off.
Okay.
So I guess
the drummer of the Strokes band is Nick.
Yeah.
Who plays guitar in Post Prom.
Right. I knew this because oh man, and I've also played a show with Canadis before where I think one
you
of
play
the
drums.
No, I don't play drums. So I was gonna say the drummer. It needs to do something, and I guess the bass player plays drums, and I'm gonna play bass for a couple of those shows.
Cool,
so
that's rad.
I don't think that's like we don't have like anything ironed out concrete. But Brendan was like, "Here's 5 dates. I don't think we need you for all of them, but we're gonna need you for some of them."
Yeah.
So that should be cool. So I guess there'll be some stuff in the fall. I don't want to give any dates out yet.
Cool.
But
I think you were playing with Marquis
I was in Marquis Grand.
Yeah. That's not a thing anymore?
No, that's not a thing. Over pandemic, I love those guys.
Yeah.
They're good dudes. Matt, John, and Josh. I think they got a new bass player. Anyway, over pandemic, I just was like, I'm getting old. Like, they want to make it.
They're going for it.
They're going for it, and they can do it. And that's why
they're good. I like that band a lot.
That's
Shout
why
out Marquis Graham.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I can't be in with. I'm like at this point in my life where it's just like I can't be in a thing where I'm traveling around and things like that. Like we went to Indiana to record like 4 tracks, and that was probably the funnest experience. The funnest. I can't believe I said that. The most fun experience I've had recording.
Funnest should be a word. It rolls off the tongue.
Honestly, it doesn't even sound bad, but
yeah.
I remember just being accosted by my English teachers in grade school.
Yeah.
You can't say that word. Why not?
Right.
It's not a bad word.
Yeah, they should change that. Whoever's in charge of that, change
English language. Somebody at
the English language
somebody
is
at
already
Oxford.
so already
somebody
fucked.
at Oxford.
You know what I mean?
Please change this.
Yeah.
Right. It's already just this bastardized language of all these other
nothing
languages.
Makes sense.
Anyway.
It's not, yeah, exactly. Just make funnest a word. It sounds fine.
Anyway, so it just came to a point where it's just like, I don't want to hold anything back. I love you guys, but like, I'm gonna play this online show with you guys, and that'll be my last hurrah.
Okay.
So I still talk to them, some more than others, but I love all those guys equally, and just there's nothing bad there. It's just I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah. I understand.
It's the type of thing where I'm just like, I'm cool with just being a local player for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's kind of where, I mean, even that's where like post prom is at. Like our goal is to either be like, if we're not going to be an internet sensation,
right?
At least try to be like regionally known. You know, like we're not trying to fucking go on DIY tours and.
You want to be like a Pentimento type of famous,
right? Yeah. We just every once in a while, if we could just fill Mohawk Place, like I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
you know.
I got it. So we played the one show, we played Rec Room, and we were able to sell out Rec Room.
Wow,
and that might have been the coolest thing ever.
And
it's all because Josh Ozarzik knows freaking everybody in Buffalo.
That's what playing in a band with Brendan Orr will get you to.
He knows everybody in Buffalo too.
When we played, we were direct support for Canadis for their EP release show. One of the last shows we played before things shut down. Mm-hmm. And it was at Rec Room, dude. There were so many fucking people there. It was insane. Same thing with Fernway, dude.
Fernway can draw.
Homies with those dudes. I love those dudes.
They've been around forever.
Forever, dude. I was playing
Rescue Dawn,
dude. I was playing shows with them at X Wheels when I was like 14.
Oh my god. That's
when
going
I was
back
in
to
Single
like,
File Riot was my first band. Yeah.
That's going back to. Do you remember a band called Letter Set?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
I played with Letter Set.
Yeah.
I think I played a show with Letter Set.
Yeah. Letter Set was cool. Like all those guys are my grade. I was friends with the drummer Josiah
Letter
for a
Set.
little
The
while.
Mixtape. I remember them. The mixtape was
a thing.
My City, My Secret was huge.
Yeah. Oh man.
Aurora, which was Mike O'Connor's band. That band was cool.
Mm-hmm.
We played with them a lot. Yeah, there were a lot of bands. I mean, Mandy K.
Like that's just going back in the day. Like that's not even talking about bands that are around now, like the local bands that are around now.
Yeah,
but like there were so many.
That was
good
the first scene that I knew.
Yeah, me too.
That was my first introduction to the Buffalo music scene.
Yeah,
were those bands. Yeah, and it was all X Wheels.
Yeah,
and,
X Wheels. That was like the place.
Yeah,
that,
X Wheels
where
and
it all
Club
started.
Infinity. It was all after dark. It was just
Club Infinity.
Shout out Dennis Ferry for just
Club Infinity.
Yeah. I used to play Club Infinity. Yeah, those
are my favorite. Those are my favorite streetlight shows.
Yeah.
Honestly, because
were you at the streetlight show at the waiting room and the floor caved in?
Yes, I was.
Nice. That's legendary. That's a legendary story to have.
That show is great, and for whatever they've stopped coming to Buffalo since then. They haven't been here since because that floor caved in there, and then they had a makeup show at Town Ballroom later. And the power went out during their set while they were playing.
So Buffalo's just an omen.
Yeah. So they literally like, Buffalo, why do you hate us so much? Right. It was just so funny. And I'm like, ha ha ha. But it's been like 8 years at this point. And
maybe with them being lefties, maybe India Walls.
There you go.
Bring them back.
I think an issue with them for a little while was they wanted to. They got to a point in their lives where like, we can't tour 360 days of the year anymore. So we're going to tour every weekend instead.
Totally.
So I think they took they're playing like major cities, but before pandemic, they made an announcement like, we're going to play smaller cities this year.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened.
So maybe they'll come back. I would love I've never seen them. So I might have seen them on a Warped Tour.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Did you see them? Maybe we saw them at the same Warped Tour. Thomas broke his arm. And he couldn't play guitar, so they borrowed the guitar player from Big D and the Kids Table to fill in.
Yeah.
And Thomas was just a vocalist, and it
Interesting.
It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, maybe.
To see
What
ever.
year?
20. I was coming off my sophomore year of college. That would have been like 2010 maybe.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
So if my Warped Tour years were like 2012. I think I was 16.
Okay.
Or 2011, I think might have been my first one. I was like 16. And like I went from like 2011 to like 2014 maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
Right up. I didn't go to the last one. I think I went to the one right before the last one.
I want to say I went to like 2 Warped tours, and I was just like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and like back then I was only going to see like a couple of bands. I'm like, you're playing a 20-minute.
I found a lot of. I mean, I found Every Time I Die through Warped Tour. I didn't even know that band was a thing.
See, I wasn't in my music discovery phase of my life yet.
You're like, I know what I like. And I'm gonna go
I was
see what
very
like.
much an I
Cool.
know what I like person back then,
Yeah.
and I don't know what changed in me, but like I stopped being like, I stopped hating music. I finally came to a point where I'm just like, there's no point in talking about stuff that you don't like listening to.
Yep.
Just talk about stuff that's my pinned tweet.
Dude,
It's my favorite thing that I've ever
I cannot
said.
stand when I see people shitting on any sort of music.
Right.
On
if it's not for you, you just don't have to talk about it.
Right.
Unless the person is a piece of shit, like just don't talk about
totally,
it.
Totally. That's a different story in itself. But I was talking about it last week. I had Greg Kolb on, and we were talking about it because I just like, I've always like loved bands that people shit on. Like I love the Front Bottoms, and everybody likes shitting on that band. You know what I mean? And like I loved in their first like 2 albums. I loved 21 Pilots. And everybody shits on that band.
I still like 20. Like I still like their stuff.
A long time. A lot of their stuff. I was just like, I don't know what's going on here anymore.
Yeah,
but their first 2 albums I loved.
Oh, you're talking about Vessel and
Blurryface.
Oh, Vessel and Blurryface. They have a self-titled from before that. It was
a lot of the same songs as Vessel, though, right?
No. Okay, so there was.
I don't remember.
No, trust. I was like super into it, so I know this. They had a self-titled where they were like an actual 4-piece band.
Yeah.
And then they had this compilation called Regional at Best.
I remember that.
Where like 6 of the tracks ended up being on Vessel.
Oh,
and then they had Blurryface.
Gotcha.
But if you ever get a chance to, or just
I probably did.
In the mood to, listen to their first album, and you'll be like, this is nothing like what they became.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I liked Vessel a lot, and I liked
Vessel is
Blurryface.
super good.
Yeah, and then I moved on.
Also, I love the Front Bottoms. The Front Bottoms, I think the Front Bottoms are what like, it's weird that they like awoke an attitude within me where it's like okay to talk about yourself in a funny way, or in a disparaging way, or just like it's okay to. They were the first band where it's like it's okay to casually talk about how you're feeling. Yeah, which like I'd listen to emo bands and stuff throughout high school,
and
it's different. It's like. That's like very meaningful. Where it's like Brian Sellis just saying like, I went to smoke weed and it was great.
The first Front Bottom song I heard was Awkward Conversations.
Yeah.
Which
thinking about awkward hugs.
Yeah. Where the chorus is really what pulled me in, which was, I personally think it's too cold to have the windows open, but you want to smoke your menthol cigarettes.
Yep.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, what a crazy, that's your hook.
You can just say that as a hook?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, totally.
I personally think it's too cold to have the windows open, but you like to smoke your menthol cigarettes. And what's crazy is like that's a super good line.
It's such a good line.
Yeah, like wow. And like so that's really what pulled me into that band. Was that song. And then and then Twin Size Mattress, dude.
And I didn't hear them until like their third full length. The one where they joined Fueled by Ramen before. So Back on Top was the first Front Bottoms.
Back on Top was phenomenal.
Help was the first. Help. I heard Help on the radio.
That was the single. Yeah,
that was the single.
That was on 107.7.
That was the single.
All summer.
And I like instantly fell in love.
Yeah.
And then like listening to more and more of it. And
Back on Top is a phenomenal album.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's like that's like the shift for them though, right?
Yeah, that's where they became a radio band.
Right.
But I liked it.
But also the people who have jumped off on the Front Bottoms, like I implore you to like try again.
The most recent album is great.
I
didn't like the one in
Flames,
between.
Oh, see, try it again. Just try it.
Yeah,
just keep trying.
It was just too weird for me.
It's definitely weird, but listen to it. That came out when I was 28. Listen to it when you're 28.
Okay. I'll be sure to do that.
Like Going Gray is like a weird
album.
That
one, yeah.
It like I understand why people don't like it, but it like came for me.
I didn't think it was like
bad,
just didn't really do much for me. But the most recent one I thought was
easily their most
great.
radio friendly. Just like they.
Although the Peace Sign Middle Finger song was alright.
That song is awesome.
Yeah.
Vacation.
I saw them on that tour.
Yeah. So that was what sold me on that album.
Yeah.
Seeing them play all those songs live. Some bands just like they'll put something out and it's just like you got to see it live in order for you to understand how it works. And that was what made me go back to Going Gray because I was low on that album until I saw that Riverworks, right? I think.
Yeah,
and then after that I was I think Peace Sign was the song where I'm like, and I was obsessed after that.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
But anyway, we've been talking a lot.
Yeah, man. We just hit an hour and a half, so this is perfect.
Cool.
What's your podcast called again?
Podcast is called Between Two Rebuilds.
Between Two Rebuilds. That's so fucking funny.
It was supposed to be a play on how the Sabres are in this point where like we know they're going to have to rebuild again.
Yeah.
But now we probably came too late, where the show name is probably going to be irrelevant by next year because they're going to be rebuilding again. No, honestly, I'm glad. I love that we named it that. It was like the perfect thing.
Absolutely.
To be like, all right, what else do we talk about between two rebuilds?
Going back to the Sabres, do you know who we're drafting? Because
probably, well, it depends on, because they're going to trade Jack, right?
Right. So that's the whole.
So it really depends. And I guess the big deal right now that like Chad DeDominicis, well, you'll see him on Twitter. He's basically like all in on the Ducks. The Ducks. He
thinks Jack's going to the Ducks.
Jack to the Ducks seems like a good. It seems like to be the one that makes sense. Mostly because the Ducks have the 3rd overall pick, and like they'd absolutely need to include that in a trade for him.
Yeah,
hypothetically.
So where we would have 1st and 3rd, you're thinking?
Right. Yeah. So I definitely think they're going to end up taking the Owen Power kid. He's been the guy that's like most consistently been number 1. He's a defenseman though, so like they don't like they have. I don't want to say they don't need defensemen, but like they need forwards more. Yeah. They need everything. They need a goalie.
They need a rebuild.
They need a rebuild.
Yeah.
But
funny.
But so who knows? But I think ultimately they'll end up having like 2 high picks. So they'll get like the defenseman. Owen Power, and then whatever forward that they probably want. But they desperately need a forward.
Cool.
But the thing is, like, neither of them probably play this year. They probably go back to school or go back to junior or whatever. So, like, we'll just have a year of
hockey
whatever.
Is fucking wild.
It's the weirdest. It's why I like the NFL a lot. The NFL draft makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, you go to college, and then you enter a draft, and, like, everybody's an adult, and then you just go to play for the team.
Right.
In the NHL, they draft you when you're 17, 18. Right. And then you might not see the league for another 6 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or if you're Jack Eichel, you see it right away. Like and
then you get your heart broken.
Yeah, right. In Jack's defense, none of it was his fault. He's the only thing that worked.
Yep.
Him and Reinhart are the only things that were good.
I've always been a big Reinhart guy.
It sucked. They're probably going to lose him too.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer. I like Reinhart a lot.
Like, when we talk about the rebuild, everybody says, the tank didn't work. It's like, no, the tank is literally the only thing that worked.
Yeah.
They got the guy that they wanted. Well, they got the second guy that they wanted.
Yeah.
But they wanted one of the 2 guys.
Right.
So, I mean, they got what they wanted. It's just they couldn't put anything else around him. And another thing that keeps coming up is, like, they literally tore that 2015 team down to the studs so that they could get that. I feel like in that sense, they hurt themselves more than they helped in terms of just they weren't ready to lay down and make all those trades and get rid of all these draft picks. And now they just haven't been able to get anything by drafting.
Okay. Last question about the Sabres.
Okay.
Do you think Kim Pegula is a big problem, or do you think people are misogynistic and just blaming her?
I think the Pegulas in general are a problem. I don't think you can lay that on just Kim.
Okay.
I think that portion of it is misogynistic.
Right.
But I also think
because it's hard not to feel that when you hear it. You know what I mean?
Also think it's okay to question that she is the president of 2 different major sports teams. Yeah. That's like not a situation in any other.
A little nepotism.
Right. It's like not a thing in any other thing. Like the Pegulas have a pretty unique situation in that they own the Sabres and the Bills.
Right.
And I mean, I said the same thing about Russ Brandon. You can't be the president of 2 teams.
Right.
And like, that's just a criticism I'm going to hold against anybody.
Yeah. Like, I don't
but in general, I think the Pegulas meddle too much in hockey decisions.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And I think the best thing they ever did with the Bills was just let Brendan Bean do fucking everything.
The Bills,
Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott, just let them run shit.
I'm pretty sure there's like an agreement in place there where like they're just
not involved,
not allowed to.
I think that was part of Bean's.
Not allowed to be involved because, and also like now that they have the track record, the nice thing with the Bills is like they immediately got the track record to show for that, and like to get that, like there's not a single Sabres GM or coach so far that have, I want to say, earned that immunity.
Correct.
But also it's one of those things where like, are they ever going to?
Right.
Like, is it just going to be a thing where they're on a short leash the entire time?
Right.
To me, it's a hubris thing, and the Pegulas need to figure out that they need to make a hiring and they need to stay out of the way for like maybe the next 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And I don't think that's truly ever happened yet.
Yep. So
like there's literally a video online of Terry Pegula in a room with Kevin Adams when they're signing Taylor Hall. This is the guy that's going to put us over the top for the Stanley Cup.
who says that?
Terry Pegula said this. So it's on video. He's involved with the decision. It's just it's just go away for a little while. It's not that like there's so many reasons I don't like you.
Right.
Just don't make me look at you. Sports fandom is so hard with the billionaire owners and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate it, but we do.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to us lefties and like
Right.
we're not.
Yeah, because where you can have our vices.
There's like this whole subset of Buffalo that will like praise the ground that the Pagulas walk on,
Right.
and like
yeah,
if
and
it
I'm a guy who with my Josh Allen jersey on is going fuck the Pagulas.
Right. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where like if I know your hands aren't on it, if all you are is a money thing, then just be the money thing.
Right, exactly. And that's why the Bills work so well is because of Bean and McDermott.
But I can't help but get the sense of like there's this attitude of we've done so many great things. How can you think of us this way?
Yeah.
And it's just like you're just not going to win that. You're just not going to win that.
Yep.
You can't. It's just not a thing. You can't throw money at people and say, "Well, don't hate us." It's like, well, no.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, not that they would ever throw money at regular people.
Yeah, right. No, they hate regular people. They just like profiting off of us.
That's right.
So fuck billionaires. Is what I got off of that. Any shows coming up?
Any shows coming up? I would like to see the Wilco Slater Kinney show. Actually, what do you mean by this? By shows
Either.
that I want to see?
Shows that you want to see, or shows that you're playing?
Yeah, I mentioned
because it's exciting to talk about either right now.
True,
you know
true. I mentioned the opportunity to be playing those Strokes cover shows in the fall, so that should be cool. But in terms of like going to like everybody's coming.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
Yep.
Like the Menzingers I think are coming.
I got Menzingers tickets.
Yeah,
I got Conway the Machine tickets, which I'm super excited about.
Is that sold out? I should pick.
I don't think it's sold out yet, which is surprising.
I know. I wasn't employed when that went on sale, so
Yeah.
I've been holding off. But as I've been getting money, it's just like, okay, I got to buy tickets to this. I got to buy tickets. Jeff Rosenstock's coming, so that's going to be cool.
I saw that. Yeah, that's funny. Who else did I? Story So Far is coming to Rochester, so I'm getting those tickets tomorrow or Friday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who else did I see? There's some bands that are coming that aren't they're not coming around here though, so it's annoying.
Yeah.
I think my girlfriend and I are going to see Waxahachie, some place outside Pittsburgh, so that should be pretty cool.
Traveling for shows is always fun.
Yeah, I need to travel. I need to make a point of like finding a show and then like scheduling a vacation around said show.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I've always wanted to go to Red Rocks in Colorado, so like
yeah.
So eventually I'm going to find a band that's going to play there and just schedule a vacation around that. And also like just tour the West because I desperately need to travel and sightsee and do all that stuff.
I'm the same way, man. Yeah.
Like I love Buffalo, but eventually I don't see myself staying here full time.
Yeah, I see myself leaving and coming back, I think.
That's how I see it. I'd love to experience another part of the world, even if it's just all the way across the country.
Right, yeah. I'm thinking like, I don't know. I really want to go to New Zealand. I think about New Zealand a lot. Just, I don't know about living there, but just going there.
In terms of traveling, New Zealand would be sweet.
Getting there would suck, there would great.
I've never been anywhere but the North American landmass.
Same.
So,
I agree. Yep. I agree. Same. Also,
you do agree. You do agree.
I disagree. I think you've been elsewhere. I think you're holding on us.
Yeah, right.
No, yeah, same. I've only been to Canada. I mean, I've been in the Dominican Republic, which is basically the same North America.
It's like it's the same tectonic plate,
right?
Okay.
Yeah. And I was also 11, had a terrible time, but.
It's like when I went to Vegas when I was like not 21.
Right, that's basically what it was. It was a vacation for like the adults in my family.
Right.
Because I'm one of the younger ones in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like all the adults in my family had a great time, and then like I was just like sunburned and like chubby, and I was like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
It's fucking 90 degrees out. I can't breathe.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, because like you have the ocean all around you, so it's humid as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but yeah, I would like to go to New Zealand. I mean, as far as like living, like I've considered New York City. Although I've never been, I really think I would like just the Pacific Northwest. Portland, Seattle,
Vancouver's the one that
Vancouver would be fucking sick.
Vancouver's like, I remember. Do you remember being in school? Right, we all did that once for the most part. In like earth science, and you're learning about climates, and like Vancouver always interested me because they're like, oh, it's mild year round. It's like 50, 60 degrees year round.
Oh, I
in
didn't know
Vancouver.
that.
Yeah, and that sounds like paradise to me.
Yeah, totally.
Like I hate like anything over 75 is too much for me.
Right.
Like I get sweaty. It's awful.
Today was perfect. Today was like 72.
Wonderful. Oh,
Absolutely
just
phenomenal.
Wonderful. I'm the type of person that says I'd prefer the cold to the heat every time, and I get the weird looks.
Yeah.
But in my view, like I can put on as many layers as I want and be cool. Like I can't do that in the summer.
Right.
In the summer, it becomes inappropriate. And
you can only get so naked.
Right.
That's
exactly.
been my argument as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I don't want to. I don't know. I mean, have you been to like LA?
No, I've never been to California.
So LA is crazy because it's like it can get 80 degrees, but it's dry heat. So the 80 degrees doesn't feel that hot, and you can wear like a t-shirt and jeans and be very comfortable. You know, like LA is very comfortable weather.
That's always been an interesting statement to me. Like I sort of understand. Like I've been to Vegas. I was talking about how I've been to Vegas, but
Vegas is similar.
Vegas is similar, but also like 120. A dry 120 degrees is still friggin' hot.
LA doesn't get that hot.
Yeah. Well, it might now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In a few years, it's definitely going to.
We didn't even touch that topic, and that's
we don't need to.
That's one I'm just getting more and more worried about.
Dude, that is the fucking big thing.
It's just staring us
over all
It's just staring
heads,
us right in the face, and nobody wants to talk about it.
We focus on all of our little problems, and then you expand it out, and then it's just like.
Oh, by the way, the planet that you live on, it's in danger.
We're yeah, and that's also the billionaires' faults.
Yeah,
so.
right. And even though for like the first 20 years of our lives, just recycle.
Yeah, and you know what their solution is? Their solution is getting in a fucking rocket and going somewhere else because they can afford to.
Yeah, okay.
And they're leaving all of us behind.
Yep.
Just so you guys know, everybody defending billionaires.
They're just not saying the quiet part out loud yet.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they're all going to space and they're leaving us here.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's like, okay, don't come back, Jeff Bezos, and it's like, that's what he wants.
Yeah. Exactly. They're going to build their fun little state capitalist. Private industry controlled societies on a different planet, and we're all going to burn alive.
Yeah, and instead of becoming like the Federation of Systems in Star Trek, it's going to become more like the Empire in Star Wars.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Star Trek at all.
So I've just started getting into that.
Oh, cool.
And like honestly, it's when I was a younger kid, I had a friend who was like, Star Trek sucks and Star Wars doesn't. And when you're 6, you give into peer pressure like that.
Movie Fanboys?
No.
It's a movie from like 2000, maybe. And it's a movie about
people like this.
Well, it's movies about these like hardcore Star Wars fans, and they are traveling in a van to go to they're trying to break into the Skywalker Ranch to steal the copy of the Phantom Menace so it's based so it might be from like 2012 maybe. Let me look it up real quick.
Okay.
Because this movie is fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna have to find it.
2009 is when this movie's from, but it's based in 1999.
Okay.
So a group of guys are traveling in a van trying to break into the Skywalker Ranch to steal the copy of the Phantom Menace so they can watch it before everybody else.
Okay.
And on their way, they like get stuck at like a Star Trek convention. And so like the Star Trek fan, like they are shitting on Trekkies the whole movie. And like they end up like beefing. Seth Rogen plays one of the Trekkies.
Oh, okay. And now I got to see it.
Yeah. And like, so they gotta like, they end up beefing and like fucking with each other. I don't know. So that's all I know about Star Trek world is that movie. Super good movie though. Super funny.
So it's fun. I've never been like a big Star Trek guy. But when I was a kid, I would watch, they would run the Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Is that the show with Shatner?
No, this is the show with who's the Jean-Luc Picard is what's Sir Ian McKellen is Magneto, and who is Professor X? Sir Patrick Stewart.
There we go.
So this is the one around Sir Patrick Stewart, and when I was a kid, when I was like 6 or 7, that show was already in syndication like late at night on Fox.
Okay.
So like I
feel like I
would
remember that.
I would wake up in the middle of the night and
Yeah,
I
just be on.
wouldn't be able to sleep, and I would turn the TV on. I didn't have cable, so I'd turn on Fox
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. and Star Trek was playing.
Nice.
And I got into it then, and then a kid told me that Star Trek sucks, so then I didn't watch it for 25 years.
Isn't that crazy?
And I've been watching it it's on Netflix, and I've been like, why did I stop watching this?
Yeah.
This show's amazing.
Similarly, a similar story of where somebody told me something sucks. I got really, so again, I'm younger, so like I missed the Green Day wave,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't get into Green Day until American Idiot. When
Yeah.
American Idiot came out, I was like, this is fucking cool. And so like I know, and
You and I must have had similar Green Day experiences.
Oh, okay.
Because I got made fun of for liking
Yeah,
Green Day
dude.
at that point.
Right,
It's just
so-
like, this is the coolest
So
shit I've
American
heard
Idiot
ever.
came out, dude, and I was like, this is phenomenal. Like I thought Jesus of Suburbia was like the coolest fucking song of all
Right.
time. And like the whole idea of the album, the concept album of everything, I was
Right.
like, I was like 10 years old, and it was just like everything to me. I had a different Green Day shirt for every day of the week.
Yep.
I had posters all over my room. Like I was obsessed with this band. And then I got bullied so fucking hard for liking this band by everybody that
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, Green Day sucks.
Right. And then that's a thing you internalize for
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
long. I did this with Green Day for a while.
Yeah.
Freaking Fall Out Boy.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
Fall Out Boy was another band I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
But nobody was going to take that away from me.
I was obsessed with Fall Out Boy, and then again the same thing. I was just
Yeah.
like, actually, Fall Out Boy sucks, and
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, and
Yeah.
you just agree, and then you get to be an
And you
adult,
become bitter.
and then you become an adult, and then you're just like, why did I let these people
Yeah.
ruin these things
Yeah.
for me? So it's funny growing up and realizing the things that fucked you up as a kid.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Like
Yeah, just because
it
some
doesn't even have to be
snot-nosed
much,
motherfucker just
right?
told you a band you liked sucked,
Right.
and you just took that as gospel,
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like I said before, it's like this weird internalization of things that you hear, and then you don't even realize you have these things until you get older, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
heck?
Yeah.
I've been missing out on so much.
And that's why I go to therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah, shout out therapy.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
yeah. I mean, I've said it on every single episode probably at this point. If I know that it's a privileged thing to be able to get because not a lot of people can afford. But if you can afford it, dude, like even if you don't think you're fucked up, it's so amazing to just sift through the shit in your head. You know?
It's weird, but like, have you ever? It's like, if you've ever wanted to just say all the shit that's rattling around in your head to
Right.
a person just to vent, and
Yep.
that person is like able to take what you say and throw it back at you and like perspective
In a way you've never even
right.
thought about.
Oh
yeah.
man, it's
Yeah.
just like I'm a man, so obviously I was a therapy dolt for years,
Yeah.
and just like, I don't need that. But
Right.
like,
I have 4 older brothers.
you're right. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you get it. Older brother, older sister. But either way, just like that was never the answer until
Yeah.
like all of a sudden it was just like, I think one day I had like a panic attack just in my bed, and I was just like, I immediately contacted my doctor. It was just
Yeah.
like just this whole thing, and I was just like, wow, like I didn't know this side of it. This is great.
Right.
Like it's just such a I can't any dude, anybody at all listening to
Right.
this, but especially dudes, you need to hear
Yeah.
this. Like, please see a therapist.
Apparently, I think this week specifically I've been seeing is Men's Health Week.
Oh, okay.
And so people have been putting shit around on that. So, yeah, it is a thing. It's a stigma where like, just man up has just
Yeah.
been the response of
Right.
everything my whole life, you know? And I was always just like an oversensitive, overly emotional kid too.
Yeah.
And was just told like, that's not cool, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No,
and
don't wear your emotions on your sleeve.
Right,
Don't
yeah.
let people know.
So so and I've always said I feel like, and you know, I don't know if this is exactly but this is how I like to think of it, is that that's what made me start writing songs, was that's when I was allowed to be emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I just like, that's where I was allowed to talk about those things. So that's where I put all of that. But at the same time, like, that's not healthy either.
Right.
Because the only way I knew how to process stuff was to put it in a song instead of just talking about it. And I'm still just burying it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how to communicate things, which made me a poor partner in a relationship, you know? So it's like all these things that I'm now realizing as I get older and through therapy that helped me realize, oh, okay, you know, this is, normal.
I once had a girl tell me that I was like emotionally disconnected or whatever,
Yeah.
and I like didn't get it until I went to therapy.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I didn't realize how emotionally unavailable I've always been.
Oh, yeah.
Because I never would open up because I was never allowed to.
Yep.
Nobody ever told me that was okay.
Or not that you weren't allowed to, but you just in your head you just didn't think you were allowed to.
Right.
Well, not even in your head, because I'm sure there's like obviously outside influences where you're thinking that.
That
It's
convinced
just like,
you that it's
right. And I think most people say that until they're faced with that situation, and it's just like, now what? And
Right.
honestly, I think that makes people go nuts.
Yeah, and that's where that's when you start having severe panic attacks, which leads to
Right.
depression, and and that's where I'm at. So yeah.
But the fact, I admire that you talk about all of this stuff, man. Like,
Thanks,
you
dude.
are.
It's been my shit for a while now.
It has been.
know?
It's like it was like one day you were just like, I'm gonna be open about this stuff all the time.
And that's when I started just on my Twitter feed was just like,
Yep.
this is what goes through my head, and this is why I struggle with a lot of stuff, and and this is why, dude. It's an interesting thing that I think about too, about like wanting to leave Buffalo, is there's like part of me that's like, I have a lot of people I know already have an impression of me here, you know what I mean, based on an old version of myself that wasn't the best version of myself, you know. And it's like, I want to, now that I've grown so much and grown into a person I actually like and I'm comfortable in my own skin, those kinds of things, I want to go somewhere new and test out the waters and be like, what is it going to be like if I can present myself in a way that is truly me, rather than, where I can, it's a weird thing. There's a lot of anxiety, especially through this past year, the amount that I've learned about myself and have grown. Like, I don't go out anymore. Like, even now as things are going, before the pandemic, I was going out every weekend. You know what I mean? It was just something to do, whatever. Now I'm like anxious as hell to go out at all, because it's like, I don't want to see people who like have seen me in a state of mind that I know wasn't good, and they have some sort of preconceived notion of me, of who I am or how I am or whatever. So it's like, and that idea just scares the fucking hell out of me. So I just like don't go out anymore.
Yeah. I obviously go out from time to time, but like, I was never like big party guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't drink much at all.
Right.
Like, drinking has never been a humongous vice for me. Only socially, honestly. When I'm with people, that's when I drink. And honestly, that's like a part of myself that I've constantly looked at. It's like, why do I only drink with people? Like, why is that a thing that I do?
Yeah, it takes the edge off.
Yeah, but also it's not
social is hard.
It totally is. But also, it's this thing where like, I constantly reevaluate my situation with it. But I'm not the type of guy that comes home from work and pops open a beer or whatever. It's literally only a social thing.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an introvert?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
I feel I am a perfectly balanced introvert extrovert.
I feel that at my heart, I'm an introvert, but I can play extrovert if I have to.
Right. I think it's a spectrum for everybody.
I think so too. What I notice about me is I can put myself into a situation, and then as I'm in that situation, I either become more comfortable, or I know I don't want to be in that situation, and I become more introverted.
Right.
It's, sometimes for me, it's one of those, like, I need that familiar face or push or whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
In order to be comfortable.
Yeah. And I'm a person who definitely, I've definitely gotten more in touch with my introverted side through the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Of becoming a bit more of a homebody and being like, this is where I'm comfortable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I like this way more, it's exhausting to, because we're just always performing.
Yeah.
And that's part of being extroverted, is just, you're always just like on when you're in front of people, and like when you're in a crowd of people, whatever. And especially as like a person who's been a performer of some sort my whole life. It's exhausting to do that forever,
So it's funny you say that, because like, performer me is a completely different person from me. Like, when I'm on a stage, I don't feel, people are always like, don't you get like worried, jitters? Or it's like, that's like literally the only form of expression where I don't get any of that.
Yeah.
Like,
because I love doing it so much.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's a completely, I think before my first show, I was definitely like, but before my first show, it was like, I've never played in a band before.
I get more nervous being an audience member than being a person on stage.
I don't want to do the wrong thing for your band, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or girl, like, honestly, women-fronted bands are fucking amazing too. And
that was, so who, Kim Neal from Pixies?
Yeah, Kim Deal.
Kim Deal,
right?
my bad. What's her other band? The Breeders?
Yes.
Yeah. They were part of this podcast I was listening to.
Nice.
And that was super. I didn't know anything about Kim. What was it? Kim Deal?
Yeah, Kim Deal.
Super cool.
Her and sometimes he calls himself Black Francis. Sometimes he's Frank Black.
Yeah, I read into that.
Him and her, something happened that they're not friends, and it's just, but.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, something happened a few times, I think, from what I was reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool, they were not cool, then they were cool again, then they weren't cool.
Yeah, it's like Darcy Retzky and Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah. Cool, not cool, not cool, but now just mostly not cool.
Right.
Even though the rest of the band finally was like, oh, okay, Billy.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah. I don't know. Where are we going here?
I don't know. We were talking about being introverted, being nervous on stage and in audiences and women-fronted bands. And
I threw that out there because I was like, guys. I'm like, no, women too.
No, I do that same thing. I've talked about this on the show before of like trying to correct myself of be more inclusive language.
I was going to say I'm trying to get rid of like gendered language in my vocabulary just because.
I can't get rid of dude, and I've just accepted that.
Dude is a funny one. I feel like that's more or less of a grandfathered one.
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Raised during a certain time. It's
a culture thing.
Yeah.
It's an endearing.
You can only go so far with it's a culture thing, but like it's not it's not a slur. It's not like it's just like.
And we all grew up on Good
90s.
Burger.
Yeah, right.
And that song, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude.
We're all dudes. Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks, Less Than Jake.
Right. Is that who wrote that song?
I don't think they wrote it, but they definitely made it popular enough for me to be like, oh, that's
I didn't know it was Kel Mitchell who actually sang that song.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I just
Less Than Jake eventually covered that at some point. Scott, that was honestly what got me into Scott, was Scott covers, Take on Me. Like, anyway. Aiden, it's been a couple of hours, man. I feel like I can go a bunch more.
Yeah, this has been good, man. I like when I have people on who have podcasting experience. You know?
Yeah,
it's very fun. It's very easy for me. So.
Yeah, it's doing it is hard though, because sometimes. So when I do, I'll make this the last thing because, like I said, I could talk
we can close
about
out
this
on
forever.
This. Yeah.
I have a co-host, and basically we pretty much split it. Like sometimes he knows it better, and sometimes I know an album better.
Sure.
We haven't had anybody on yet where one of us hasn't known it yet, though. So it's like this interesting dichotomy of like who controls the episode and who talks more. And I like constantly think about it in terms of like, oh no, am I not doing enough? Am I talking too much? And this whole, it's like this perfect balance of talking. Yeah. And I feel like when you're a guest, it's even more delicate. So I don't I have experience, but I always think entirely too much about it.
I think this is a beautifully balanced conversation.
I think so too.
It's good. I also try, I've tried to be very cognizant of not interrupting and just like truly listening and taking in everything the other person's saying, because I've had a history of not doing that, you know?
Oh, see, I'm really bad at just being like, I'm bad at like pinpointing when a person is going to.
Well, you have ADHD. Your thought's going to disappear in 3 seconds.
Okay, but it's funny though with ADHD. I like constantly say that, and I'm like constantly like, no, don't make it an excuse. Just like
because you can work on it.
Right. But I constantly am just like, it's okay to blame this thing, but just like don't make it an excuse all the time. Yeah,
that's me with my anxiety and depression for everything.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Well, TJ, thanks for coming on, bro. I think you did great. I'm gonna want to have you on again for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely hope to come on your podcast sometime, talk about the Sabres and albums.
Yeah, trust me. If you talk about the Sabres, it's 3 minutes.
I can handle that.
We usually don't even let the guests. Like we're just
you guys talk about it. I'll just jump in.
We usually like make a joke like we don't even want our guest to talk about this. Our guest actually wants to talk about an album. It's a good bit.
Love it.
We've done. We just recorded the 9th episode yesterday.
Awesome.
So
super excited.
It's on all the regular podcast apps and all that stuff.
I'm gonna check it out.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me. See you soon.